Time for Bomber Banter. Now over to Fiona.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bomber Banter. I've missed you all. I really have. It's okay if you haven't missed me, but I have missed you all. I've missed the community. I'd like to say I've missed talking about Essendon, but 12 consecutive losses at the back end of the year wasn't the funnest conversations to be having. I hope you all are super, super well. I fear this is going to be a very, very long one, but that's always a good time. So no problem there. We'll go until we drop, I guess, because there is a lot to cover. Just when you think that Essendon might go a day, a week, a weekend without hitting the headlines, the rug gets pulled out from under us yet again. Dave Barham, as of today, has officially stepped down as president. Andrew Welsh stepped in, and of course the rumblings of a board spill louder than ever. But does Andrew Welsh now stepping in curtail, placate the board spill people? Don't know. What do you think? We'll get into it later. But, you know, let's be real here. The news has split the fan base from what I can see. What about all of you? For me, it's split quite down the middle. On one side, you've got a fraction of supporters who want to blow the whole thing up again. They're sick of waiting. They don't trust the process. They don't trust Brett Scott, and they're ready to torch the joint to avoid another rebuild. And when I say another, I mean, in my eyes, the first proper rebuild. Clearly, the fear of a full-blown rebuild is quite triggering and a lot for some people to handle, and that's okay. If you're in that camp, you are absolutely welcome here. That's okay. But then it feels like then there's the majority of people, and I probably count myself sort of in this camp, who are very depressed and frustrated with the lack of success, of course. But we can also probably see the light at the end of this tunnel with the strategy that's in place. You know, I feel like we've seen enough glimpses this year to believe that this path can actually lead somewhere if we just get out of our own way and stop tripping ourselves over. And of course, while this is all happening, and while this is all going on in the background, the games continue with the Zach Merrett situation. He's once again at the centre of drama, you know, the whispers, the narratives, the debates, both sides, his camp, Essendon camp, and any other camps, all throwing punches. It's his character's coming into question, his leadership. Where do you sit on that? We will get into all of that. There are a few other little tidbits that I have on the agenda, but of course, if we don't get to it because you all just want to have your say, that is okay too. So what I'll do to start off, I'll pop the link into the chat. While that percolates, maybe we'll get to one of the good, very, very good news stories that just dropped an hour or so ago from the club, and that is this. Jordan Ridley commits publicly, officially to the Essendon Football Club for 2026 and beyond. I am beyond happy with this. I'm going to try and read this out without crying because I'm that ridiculous. It made me well up, but here we go. Jordan Ridley has come out and said, "This off-season gave me a crucial opportunity to reflect on a challenging few years with injury." Good self-awareness there. "During that time, it became incredibly clear that my future is with Essendon. I'm fully committed to playing my best football here. I have immense faith in Brad Scott and the direction he's taking, developing this group. After meeting with our high-performance team led by Matt Innes, I've been really impressed and confident we have the right strategy in place to overcome my recent injury challenges and get me back to my best. My decision was also driven by my great belief in this playing group and the exciting young talent coming through. I love this club and I want success for this club, and I'll be doing everything I can to return success to Essendon for everybody." I mean, bless. I'm so happy with this. I have heard from very good sources that he was incredibly impressed with Matt Innes. He met with him just before he headed off overseas with Kane Baldwin and Zach Reid. I have also heard that Nate Caddy had a wonderful conversation with Matt Innes as well and was very impressed and feels very confident. He's over in Doha, I believe, doing some work on his groins and getting some insight from some professionals over there. So I think overall I'm pretty happy with the changes to the strength and conditioning program. I have not hidden the fact that that I think. Hey Matt, it's on the. Oh, sorry. Who are you having a conversation with somebody else in the chat or Ridley? If you're talking about Ridley, it's on the Essendon website. I'm pretty confident in Matt Innes and that I've lost my train of thought. That Matt Innes and Matt Rosa have the most important roles this off season, and from what I've heard, my once again the cakes are taking a back seat because I got nothing done today. The phone has been blowing off the hook, but just gathering intel for all of you, and I've heard that Matt Innes has already superseded a lot of people's expectations. So I can only tell you what's been told to me. Time will tell, I guess. Howdy, Hughie.
Hey Fiona, how are you doing?
I'm pretty well. It's always good to end a bit of an interesting day on a high note with some good news with the Ridley decision. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good. It's school holidays, so I'm not at work, and my kids are in childcare today. And I basically set up the hammock in the backyard, and I just lay out there, and I just follow the updates as things progressed throughout the day. So I feel that across everything that's happened, and the fact that you're on tonight, I thought good opportunity to maybe get some of my thoughts out, because there's obviously a lot going on, and great to hear what you've said already. And I'm a little bit disappointed in our president, Fiona, because he's obviously chosen to go on Footy Classified tonight. And if he knew it was best for him, he probably would have come on here, because he probably reached twice as many Essendon fans than going on that show.
Very, very true. Can we just get an amen for the people at the back on that? But who knows? Stay tuned. Perhaps a bit of update on that in the near future with our new president, Andrew Welsh, hopefully. But yeah, you're right. He would be reaching, should we say, the people that really matter by coming onto this show, the people who are actually, listening and want to know. So anyway, all right, let's start with your views on the situation regarding the president. Do you feel, I know I saw someone mention in the chat before that we've jumped at the jungle drums, we've jumped at shadows already with the Dave Barham. I believe he or she was referring to, the report coming out last week or a few days ago, actually, of Dave Barham having a blow up with Ted Forum, I believe it was 3 weeks ago, and how, past players are commenting and liking certain posts on social media, which is, I'm including Tom Bell Chambers, and we've all seen the Jake Stringer and Laverty and Hines comments from last couple of weeks, and Kobe Buick and Mason Fletcher all liking certain posts about the president going. So in saying all that, how have you seen it?
So I think there's a challenge on, right? So there's numerous points. It's not just one or two people talking. There's a lot of people talking. I think Eddie McGuire on his podcast earlier this week sort of suggested there's at least three different groups, three not connected groups at this stage that are looking to challenge. And it's typical Essendon. We have a poor year, and the natives get restless, and they think they can do it better, and we spiral, and we have to change course again, and then we just go around in circles, and then we hit another 3-year cycle and we go again.
Yeah.
So there was obviously
Is this that?
I think this is the attempt to do that. I think there's obviously people outside the club, whether they have been involved in the past or haven't been allowed to be involved up to this point, who feel like they can do a better job than what is currently being done, and they've taken the opportunity of the really poor year, the injuries, and then obviously the news that Merrett was looking to get out as an opportunity to where fans are disgruntled. You obviously, at the end of the day, a board challenge only works if the fans are behind it, because they have to vote on it on an EGM and the ability there. So they felt like they could channel that discontent and possibly remove the board and get into their positions there. And then obviously Dave is a divisive figure. I really like him. We've obviously had him on our show last year. I think he hasn't been perfect. Sorry. He's obviously made some mistakes, but I think his heart has been in the right place, and he's set up things that are for the betterment of this club. But I think, and particularly with things like the Fordham thing coming out, I mean, that Dave obviously shouldn't have done that, but that was clearly released by people who had an interest in destabilising Dave.
Yeah.
And I think, pardon me.
I also
Sorry, I'm really...
just on the, no, you're right. I think on that leak, obviously that did happen. And that was incredibly poor from my point of view. Obviously, I don't think anybody's going to disagree. As fans, we're allowed to lose it, but as the president, he's not. He has to keep composure under that situation, and because that's what's going to be coming his way. If he continued, that was going to be coming his way from everybody. That was the general consensus. So I hate to think what else, if that was one occasion, if that had been happening moreover. So I personally really disliked hearing that, and also other little, I guess, as you say, leakings that benefited the other camp, whereas, you could say that he leaked or Essendon leaked other, their own dosage of things to, make Merrett look bad. It's just, as I said, it's two camps throwing punches through their own media. You can see whose media belongs to which camp now, because the negative gearing is one way, and the Essendon related posts are coming in a positive way from people you wouldn't actually expect, like Carolyn Wilson and Damien Barrett. So yeah, sorry, continue, Hume.
Yeah, you're right, and I think if you're looking for ways in which certain journalists lean, look at the adjectives they use to describe certain people. I think the Mick, sort of setting aside the Mick Warner article from last week, that was clearly from the Paul Little camp, because everything in that article that was wrong with Essendon occurred after Paul Little's presidentship. Funnily enough, nothing about Paul's own presidentship, which was not a smooth ride. But so you can clearly get if you sort of think about what are they saying and what aren't they saying, you can get a sense of where they're coming from. That doesn't mean what they're saying isn't legitimate. It just gives you perspective on whose message they're trying to follow. Like, again, Tom Morris clearly has connections to Zach Merrett. He's clearly pushing the Merrett line. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's his right to take that position. But it's always important for us as fans to be considering what angle they're coming from. But I think just getting back to Barham's decision today, look, it's been an open secret that Andrew Welsh has been the next in line.
Yeah,
Andrew came on to the board under Dave Barham, so Dave got him onto the board, and from the get-go, they've been pretty aligned in what they are doing. And I think Dave said it in other forums, but he said it on our show last year that he was going to look to hand over the presidency to Andrew next year. And that was going to be sort of a good old-fashioned leadership handover to keep the plan in place, because Dave's tenure was going to end in 2027. So he couldn't stick around long enough for the plan to come to fruition. And so he obviously lined up Andrew to do that. Now, look, I went over the last couple of days, I've been trying to get the temperature of the Essendon fandom. So I've really been looking at all the different places where Essendon fans post, so Twitter, Facebook, Bomber Blitz, Big Footy, try and get a sense of where things are at. Because obviously get a sense of where the fans are in terms of an eventual board challenge, because if the fans backing a board challenge, then it's going to be successful. And I think most of the invective was directed towards Dave, but there's a lot of people who felt, all this talk of a board takeover was actually Andrew Welsh taking over, and he was running a plan, which I don't think was the case, unless Andrew is some sort of fantastic Manchurian candidate, has been hiding his true intentions for the last 3 years, that he was going to bring back Herd. I don't think that's the case.
Can I just stop you there, though, on that, Hume? My understanding from fans is that is absolutely where a lot of fans' minds are at. That we all know that Andrew Welsh is a past player, and what have we, I guess, to date got from past people when they've been involved or in charge of the club? There's been a certain, dependency on these, putting them on pedestals, and these heroes are going to save us, and this Messiah complex. And I can tell you that fans are worried that Andrew Welsh is going to be peddling that bring back Herd line and that way of communication, and that has started the rumblings, and that started the putting the footsteps in place. Because again, as I'm only drawing people to the fact that Mason Fletcher, and let's look at it now while I've got you. posted this today, literally today, as soon as, now that was posted at 7:10. I believe that's our time because obviously he's in the US, but I believe that was our time. So people making connections and assumptions, and I implore the club to understand that and to either confirm it, well, not confirm it, they're obviously not going to confirm it, but allow the fans to understand one way or another whether that is the case. And I understand since this book got posted, Andrew Welsh has done the interview and has been posted to the Essendon website, and he sounds very resolute and he backed Brad Scott, sort of. It wasn't the strongest language, I'm not going to line, again, reading the psychology of the situation. It was diplomatic, but it wasn't I won't say over the top, and I'm not looking for over the top. I guess I was looking possibly for something a bit stronger, but happy with where it's at, and I'm happy to put faith in it. I still don't fully trust, though, and probably because I'm a bit burnt. So I just wanted to give some insight into where a lot of fans are sitting, though.
No, I get that, and that was the sentiment I got when I was sort of doing my exploring across the internet. But I think there is first, I don't think Andrew is a bring-back herder. Based on my knowledge of the situation, just from people I've spoken to. I think Welsh is aligned with the Barham view of the world and wants that plan to continue. I think that was part of the reason why Dave felt so comfortable letting the presidency go, because he felt like that even if he wasn't there, Andrew would continue the plan that they'd agreed. Like, this is not just Dave's plan that's descended from high. This is a plan the board has come up with to develop the club. And I think Dave believes Andrew is aligned with that. Now, again, Andrew could have been running a massive psyops operation, trying to, trick everyone, and then he sort of...
we're getting our conspiracies on. This is what we love here. Conspiracies.
He sets up he has a big presentation. He rips off the mask, and it's actually hurt. It's been hurting the whole time. And it's a secret thing. Anyway, so I think my understanding is that, but I think the benefit of what Dave has done is that, based on my read, I think an extraordinary general meeting or a board spill had a good chance of success with Dave there, based on the sentiments of the fans that I could see. I think Dave, as much as I like him, was a polarising figure. I think it's less of a successful chance of success if it's a Welsh-led presidency and it's a Welsh-led board. I think he's got enough credibility, and people have separated Andrew Welsh from Dave Barham. I think that would prevent an EGM, because I think an EGM would be a disaster for the club in a sense, because we'd just be back to square one, and it would, we'd be starting again. We'd be resetting. It'd be terrible to get players. And that's why I believe Welsh's words around Brad Scott as well, because we're going into a trade and draft period right now where we need to have all our ducks aligned to get players in. With, looks like we're talking to Sam Flanders. I'm sure there's other players that we're looking at bringing in. If we sacked the coach, if Andrew came out and said, right, Brad, you're out, I'm bringing back Hurd, our chance of getting any of those players in that we want to get in, or getting any of those deals done, goes down to zero. And that does nothing for the club.
I don't think that's kind of the way it's going to happen. I don't believe it's going to be like it. He's got the headline today. He's the official president, and by tomorrow, Hurd's now the coach. I think it's a bit more calculated. Not that it is. I think fans think it's a bit more calculated than that. That it's, again, that the plan has been in place, and it's little steps are going to be taken to finally get James Hurd back at the club. That's what the general consensus that all the messages I've kind of received today, that's kind of what the consensus and concern, I should say, is.
Yeah. Look, based on who I've spoken to, I don't believe that's the case. And so that's I'm not overly concerned about that at this stage.
Yeah. I mean, I try not to be too conspiratorial, although I do love a conspiracy, but I think my gut feel was that isn't the case, but I can understand why people are concerned about it because of the past player connection.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you said, look, you posted Mason Fletcher's picture. Let's be real. Mason is the son of a former player. He probably hears things, but, he posted the picture of her. Like, that's the same as it has the same impact as any other Essendon fan posting a picture of Hurd.
No,
I
it
don't think.
doesn't.
I don't
That's
read.
ingenuous. No, it doesn't,
Yeah.
Hughie. Come on, there's something in that right when it gets released that Andrew Welsh, or just as it's released, it's not like that's. I don't believe in coincidences, and that's not a coincidence. I'm sorry, but come on.
I just don't see the relevance. But look, yeah, I'm happy to defer to your opinion on that.
No. I mean, again, as I said, all opinions welcome. Absolutely. Okay, so we're happy. We're happy with where it sits with the Welsh appointment. Now, moving on to how this meshes in with the Zach Merrett situation, because clearly there's a very distinct timeline here. I kind of wrote it out to try and make a bit of sense of it, but I mean. Zach Merrett meets with Andrew Welsh 4 days ago. Now, most likely Welsh is going into that meeting, telling him, doing damage control, telling him that I'm obviously going to be the president, taking over, yada, 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 trying to, placate Zach Merrett's worries, because that tells me that Zach Merrett's issues was with Dave Barham, because Tom Bell, I don't know if you saw the recent Tom Bell-Chambers comment on social media. For anybody who hasn't, I will quickly read it to you. Under the post that Andrew Welsh is the new president, Tom Bell-Chambers writes, "Unreal for the club, one of the best I've ever come across in football." The post is also liked by Kobe Buick and others. So that is obviously, there was a real push, as you ascertained throughout the day, against Byram. So does this now mean that Welsh has stepped in, Zach Merrett's mind's going to be changed? Did Zach Merrett have a tantrum because he didn't want to play under Barham, but he's willing now to stay under Welsh? What does this mean for you when it comes to Merrett?
I don't think it changes a whole lot. I'm not sure how many players have left because of the president of a football club. I think I think Zach's been doing this for a while, right? It's not like this is the first time that he's ever looked elsewhere. It's the first time it's gone as far as it has, there's debates about whether it was his camp or the Hawthorn camp who led the meeting to really push it nuclear. But it's clear that even before Dave Barham came on, Zach has looked elsewhere and considered whether his career was best placed at Essendon.
But his behaviour, particularly now, is anger-filled, is anger-driven. There's vitriol behind it.
There is. I think, you mentioned Welsh met with him last week. I'm not sure if you saw Zach's interviews on the red carpet for the Brownlow. I didn't get much of a sense that much had changed in terms of him wanting to stay. He was very diplomatic. He said the right things, but you certainly didn't get the sense. You certainly didn't get the sense that that he changed his mind and wanted to stay. I think what Welsh has been really strong with is, trying. I think the importance of what Andrew has done is he has tried to help rebuild that bridge, and it sounds like from what Zach has said as well, is that Brad and Craig Vozzo have also been, in contact with him, and Zach's appreciative of that. So I think what that has done is about building bridges so that in the event that Zach stays, that it's not an untenable situation in 2026. I still think, based on Zach, the way Zach's spoken in the last couple of days, the way that the message is coming. Tom Morris, again, is sort of the mouthpiece of the Merrett camp. He's still said that he's keen to get to Hawthorn, and Hawthorn are keen to get him. I think what Welsh has done and the way he's spoken is all about dealing with a scenario where Hawthorn don't come to the party in terms of draft picks and players, and imagining a scenario where Zach comes back and trying to make sure that that's managed as best as it can. I still think, based on his body language, I still think based on the way he's spoken and the noise coming from the Merrett camp, is that it's more likely than not that Zach won't be here next year. And it all really comes down to whether Hawthorn can satisfy us enough.
Yeah, I don't want people to read into the Brownlow red carpet interview he did. That was way too calm and way too diplomatic to be anything other than a rehearsed speech, knowing that he was going to have to break silence. So he is still very much out of Essendon, in my opinion. I think, as Humie, you alluded to, I think the optics, it's all about the optics now. And unfortunately, not that any Hawthorn people are going to be watching this, but the optics now, the message now has to be that Zach is absolutely welcomed at the club. Bridges will be mended, everything's fine, because that is the only way to get across how serious we are that we will keep him if we get lowballed. It is the only way now. The damage was done. The bombs were exploded. The missiles were thrown both ways, rightly or wrongly. Both parties are at fault. So if you are the pro-Merrett party, he is at fault first, and the club is just as at fault for throwing back and biting back, but they're both at fault. So now it's all about mending the optics, not the relationship, because I believe he's gone. It's the optics. So Hawthorn pay up. Sorry if I just gave away the strategy, Essendon. I'm very sorry, but to me, that's what's happening.
It's all a game, and I think both clubs know that. I think, you just have to look at the way we were able to get Jake Stringer third a lot less than what he was worth because of the way the Bulldogs spoke about him and being really clear that they wanted him out. They lost all their leverage, and I think it's almost like a game of poker, isn't it? You've just got to keep bluffing until you get the hand that you want to play. You've just got to keep bluffing and say, "Oh, we'll keep him. We're not looking at moving him." I mean, Carlton's doing the same thing right now with Curnow.
And do you know what, Humie? I think everything coming out of Zach Merrett's camp now will also be, it's reported Zach Merrett and Andrew Welsh have met. Zach Merrett willing to stay if he's come to had deeper meaningfuls with all the leaders and the players, and he's willing to stay at Essendon if he has to, and he's open to playing on and being captain. That'll come out of the Merrett camp too. And then the last week of trade period, Hawks will pay up or give us what we think is fair, and he'll be a Hawks player in my opinion. And I say that purely because I've come over I don't know about you emotionally, Hughie, but I've come over the emotional hill when it comes to Merrett. I think I can see the light, I can see the journey without him, and I can see the push forward without him. And I'm comfortable and at peace with it. So I just think that now it's about placating him, and if we have to suck up his ass, let's suck up his ass for him to then push out that he's willing to stay in order for Hawthorn to realise that he's not going to be gone unless he pays up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm in the same position as you, and I probably reached it, a couple of days after I did write a big open letter, which
that
got a
must
little
have been
bit
very cathartic.
Yeah, I got it out, and then once I hit send on that open letter, not to him, we posted on our website, but that was me sort of cutting Zach out. Not going to be awkward if he does come back, but yeah, I think I'm prepared to move on, and I'm looking at the possibilities. I think looking again, and someone in our Patreon group actually, so they obviously had the Andrew McGrath mic'd up vision from the St Kilda game, and I don't know whether they had a hint that Zach was on the way out, so maybe they did some pre-planning and get people, Andy actually looks good as a captain. But someone posted one of those from a couple of years ago where Zach was mic'd up, and you could really see the difference in the way in which Zach interacted with the players as opposed to Andy interacted with the players. When in Zach's video, and you can go back and find it on, in the clubs on YouTube. I think you just search Zach Merrett mic'd up, and you can see, there's not a whole lot of encouragement for his teammates. Whereas with Andy, he's always getting around his teammates. And both Zach's style of captaincy, I think, would work really well with a different group. Here's our standards. You need to keep up with me. I feel like that his captaincy at the moment doesn't match where we're at as a club. And so potentially, and again, anything can happen, but Andy's captaincy style might suit this younger group better. And it was interesting because Zach yesterday spoke at a pre-Brownlow medal event with Paul Salmon and Shane Crawford. Sorry.
Poor Humie's on school holidays and he's
I'm just
coughing up a lung.
I'll get off in a minute and let someone else who doesn't have stage 5 pneumonia talk.
You're right.
And he said that he had to switch his captaincy style from performance to support. And the way that he said it sounded like it wasn't very comfortable for him. to be doing sort of that support role. And there's been a lot of talk from a lot of people that Andy is, Andy is the one that the younger players look up to. So I think from a captain's perspective, that is, I think that's going to help the group where it's at. Whether Andy is sort of the guy who can, take, get to the next step, we've got to wait and see with that. But I think also with the capital we'll get with Zach, it gives us a whole heap of opportunities. And it could be the thing that gets us up to sort of those top picks to get a Willem Dersma. I know everyone's be really big on Roby. It could be the thing that allows us to take him as a speculative pick because we've got multiple top 10 picks. And we can take a chance on someone like him. So, yeah, I think in my head, I've moved on from Zach and I'm really just thinking about what are the possibilities going forward.
Yeah, I would agree completely with you on that. I think where we're heading in terms of a rebuild and doing it properly, this is only going to propel us into the future faster by attaining some really high picks and potentially picks for next year. And luckily the AFL has already come out with the rule changes for the bidding system next year, so we can pre-plan and we can act accordingly. I think, look, there's no facade here. We are not going to be finishing higher than bottom 4 next year, okay? You take Zach Merrett and a lot of experience out of this club. It's going to be another trying year, but it's going to be a year where we just have to keep reminding ourselves of the bigger picture. Whether or not Brad Scott is the coach who can coach us to a premiership, who the hell knows? That's it. It's actually an insignificant question for next year. It's going to be all about developing the players and developing these young players. Because, of course, if you take Zach Merrett out of this kind of team who was already not doing great, then the performance is going to drop yet again. So I think there has to be some realism and some preparation for that. But I do see this as a good thing, and I see it, I fully believe, spiritually, energetically, it's a clear refresh, it's a clear air. I believe he's the last player who was there throughout the saga. When I say throughout the saga, he was playing when the issues were going on. He played when the team was suspended. I think that's correct in saying, right? He would be the last one.
Langford, Redmond, and there's one more, Parish.
And Parish.
And the last 3 that were there, Andy and Draper and Rids all came at the back end of that 2016 draft. So there's still 3 there, but they're not as connected with it. And I think, there's probably been a lot said about Zach's friendship groups. Obviously, there's the Laverty Stringer Hind connection. The club tried to break up, and that's obviously been an issue. Another reason why Zach probably is wanting out because of his friendship group. But I guess going Instagram, thinking back to who they hang out with on Instagram, Zach was really close with sort of that Hurley, Hooker, Bellchambers crew. So you often see him in pictures with them back when they were still on the list. So he's probably more connected with the players who went through that than your Langfords and your Redmonds and your Parishes.
That's right. That's what it felt like.
It felt like Zach was, and I think part of the reason why this is blown up is for Zach is that he looks around the club and he doesn't see people he connects with anymore. Yeah, and it makes it easy for him to leave as well because he go, well, I'm not necessarily hurting people that I'm super close to. Like he's obviously close to his teammates.
I see it as he doesn't feel supported, but he's the one who needs to be doing the supporting as the captain. And if his desire to support others is not stronger than his desire to be supported from others, then that you cannot be captain. Let that thought percolate in your head. If your desire to be supported by others is stronger than your desire to support others, that you can't be a captain because unfortunately, and I'm not saying he doesn't need support, he does. He needs it he needs a strong bond with the coaches, the leadership group, but a captain has an insatiable desire to connect and support and leave their legacy being that you've seen this young group, excel before your eyes. A true captain and a leader gets exceptional value and feels great about that. And you're right, it certainly feels like he no longer feels he has confidence and support friends, players in the club and wants to leave. So I'm more than happy for that to happen so long as what I won't be happy with is if we accept anything less than what he's worth And yeah, I think let's just have a quick listen to, before I let you go, Hume, a quick listen to Andrew Welsh today with Mitch Cleary.
To Essendon members, Zach Merrett will be at the footy club in 2026?
Yeah, Zach Merrett will be at the footy club next year.
So look how serious and stern. He believes it. He believes it because he wants you to believe it, and he needs the competition to believe it. So I am very, very pro Andrew Welsh in that. I think when it comes to body language, tone, intensity, aura, he is nailing it all, even though I don't think he believes it, but that's okay. He doesn't have to believe it. What he's omitting is absolutely he will be here because he's contracted, and we can mend bridges and mend fences. But should Hawthorn come to the table with something we cannot refuse in order to get Willem Dursma, in order to get 3 more kids at the club, in order to put cash and stash and picks away for Zach Butters or Harley Reid in the future, we will do it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I think. I think it's been wonderful to have your insight, Hume. Thank you so much for jumping on.
No worries, Fiona. I'll let you. I think the footy classified's about to start, isn't it? So
yes,
I'll chuck that on, and I'll keep you in my ears in the background.
I was just about to say, can you keep me informed in the chat, please, about what Welshie says? We might do a watch along as well whilst it's going on. Thank you so much, Hume. Appreciate your time.
Catch you later, Fiona.
Catch ya. All righty. Adam, thank you for the super sticker. For more flour, I saw you say. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Moby, I hope you had a wonderful holiday, my friend. Are you back in the land of the cold? Well, it's not super cold, but it is still cold, but it's Melbourne. Are you behaving, chat? Haven't been watching over you, but I'm hoping you've been behaving. I mean, you don't have to behave. Just keep it nice. Hey, Webby.
Right. Zach Merrett's a wanker. Zach Merrett's a wanker. How's it going? It's been a long time, hasn't it?
It has. It feels like it has been. Have you been bringing that chant all the way to the other side of the world, Webby, or is this just between you and I and 200 others?
Well, I did put that chant over on my Blitz account, so everyone on the forum can see that. But
That's
yes,
great.
I'm trying to chant it every so often, yes.
How are you feeling about everything going on? Have you been keeping up to date?
Oh, mate, it's insane, isn't it? Like every 5 minutes, there's nothing done going on. There's always something that's happening, and a lot of the time it seems to be for the worst. So
Yeah,
it's pretty annoying, really, isn't it?
It's true. Up until this Ridley news this afternoon and his wonderful statement, that tickled my little insides, that just goes to show how bereft of actual like positive energy and positive news we are, because that made me feel so much better. Did you get a hold of that, Jordan Ridley?
I did get a bit, yeah. He's a decent player.
Yeah.
So, but then it's not all about the players, is it? It's all about the results.
True.
But as good as a player Ridley is, players don't win your premierships. What wins your premierships is the entire team. Yeah. And they need a backing from the board. And anyway, this fan cam is really about David Barham, and I think his tenure has been a bit of a damp squid, really.
Tell me how you really feel, Webby. No, I'm kidding. Continue.
Well, I never thought he was that really good of a chairman. I mean, do the people in there really care about the club that much? I mean, I know they say they all support it, but I think a lot of the time they just do it for their own business interests. If they really did care about the club, that we'd be in the finals, winning the finals. And if we stuck to our plans and say 3 years ago, we'd probably be in a freezing by now, or at least still won a couple of finals.
You did say that the first time you came on, didn't you, Webby?
Absolutely.
That you thought if you stuck with Ben Rutten and stuck with his plan long enough.
And I did what going on further with that point. I did watch that documentary from Egg Footy on YouTube about how the Bombers haven't won a final in over 20 years. And he said towards the end that the team needed stability. And you're talking about going back 2 years ago now. They're saying that because he said back then that there was green shoots appearing from the club, and this is what the fans of the Bombers needed all along. That was stability, and all of a sudden, 2 years later, all that stability is just going out the window. And really, it's quite horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I do know some fans think it was jumping at shadows a little bit, but I mean, let's not forget that there was a succession plan with Andrew Welsh to take over eventually. Have we just jumped the gun a bit sooner than what it would have been?
I'd say we should have left it at least another year or even another 2 years, but because you can't just keep chopping and changing for the sake of it, because it doesn't always guarantee your results. I mean, you've got clubs here in England which have managerial merry-go-rounds, and that if you have a managerial merry-go-round, that means that you're still a club in crisis. And I think that's what's happening to the Bombers. We've had about 5 coaches in the last 10 years now. I think we've had Worsfold, Rutten, obviously, Brad Scott, and then who else do we have before that? I can't remember now. I think Hurd was up there, wasn't he?
Hurd was just before Woosha, yeah.
And you just can't just keep chopping and changing for the sake of it, because if not, we're just not going to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, look, as if we're to believe the new president, then Brad Scott is the coach for next year. That's.
Brad Scott's the coach for next year, and then God help us, because I think it's going to be another piss poor season, and we really need to brace ourselves.
You think it's going to be another poor season because we're so young, or because the plan is we're not following the plan?
Well, the thing is, what sort of plan is it? We don't know what next year's going to be like. We don't know what 2027 is going to be like.
The plan to me is rebuild, because next year we're going to get significantly younger, significantly less experienced, and so we may even fall lower on the ladder, depending on availability.
I understand that, but this is exactly what Brad Scott did to North Melbourne. He's a failed North Melbourne coach. Now, I know he did get into 2 semi-finals, as you call them, preliminary finals. But after that, it just nosedived. It really did. And this is what I'm worrying about now. I think all these factors make it likely for the club not to function well in the long term.
Interesting. So what would you do then, Webby, if you were on the board, or if you were in charge? What would be your plan?
Well, my plan would say, enough's enough. We need to start winning. No excuses needed. And I would, sack Scott, bring some experience, because you can't just rely on young players to win your matches. You need experienced players as well. So I get some experienced players. So say, who we got? I try bring back someone like De Koning, for example. Say Tom De Koning, even though now he's at St Kilda. I'll bring someone in like him. I'll bring back Melsham. Is he still at Melbourne? Jake Melsham?
He is. Yeah.
I'll bring back players like him, because he's been at the club before, but I wouldn't guarantee it to work, because they might not even want to play for us.
Well, this is going to be the issue, and this is why stability is so important, because look at how fast Melbourne got on the front foot to bring in their coach, and that is purely because they wanted to have a coach in place before. They wanted some stability before trade period started. Now, trade talks happen all year. So the problem, it's twofold. You know, players want success, but they also want stability. And so we need to be presenting that front. And if we blow shit up, then really no players are going to want to come.
Well, no, but I bring in players who want to play for this club. If you don't want to be in, then just piss off.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, at the moment, because we're not successful, I doubt that a lot of players are going to want to come to the club. We've got a few things going for us, but I doubt many players are going to want to come from other
No.
clubs.
Well, of course they won't. No one wants to play for a bottom four side, do they?
Yeah.
But we've got a long way to go. I mean, we're in deep shit at the moment, but we need people that care, and I don't know where they're going to come from. I mean, it might be another 5 years or 6 years where we're probably in finals, because we're worrying about winning a final. Now we're worrying about not even playing finals. Now we're worrying about how many wins we're going to get next season.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it go downhill, but that is almost rock bottom, isn't it?
Yeah. But that is a literal rebuild. A rebuild is not go down the... I mean, I kind of contradicted myself because Hawthorn kind of went down, did it so quick. But we're not Hawthorn. We're rebuilding a culture, an entire club, the things that really matter at the heart of a football club. Whereas Hawthorn have that. They can just ping pong up and down very, very quickly. We don't have that luxury. So a rebuild is dropping low and staying low for a couple of years and then making a forage for the top.
And also, just to quote what I heard from Rob on the Sash, he did a special podcast the other week. He compared us to other clubs like West Coast, St Kilda, and North Melbourne. Because all these other clubs are in crises as well. They haven't had much success over the last few years. And he said that the Bombers are the bottom. We are the exact rock bottom. And that's much worrying because we haven't won a final in the last 21 years. Every other team has, including just Gold Coast and even North Melbourne about 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I think all these clubs seem to not know how to rebuild. But the thing is, I don't think we've got people who care.
When you say people, do you mean players or administration?
Well, it's mainly administration.
Okay.
I can't believe I'm actually supporting this. I thought I'd be having a good time supporting this team, especially when we got in the finals about 2017.
It went very downhill, didn't it? I thought I'd be seeing some success by now, not starting a fan channel on YouTube, committing to showing up after every game, even though 12 losses in a row is very, 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 very probable again next year. But anyway, all right, Webby, we might leave it there and we might tune into Andrew Welsh on Footy Classified right now, see what he's got to say. Thank you for your thoughts.
All right, take care of yourself. Have a good evening.
See you, Webby. Take care. Bye. What's going on, chat? What's Welshie saying? Let's have a quick listen.
Strange as that seems, at times I think you can take your eyes off what are our priorities.
Can you all hear that?
Is providing the best environment, a really connected environment within our football teams and within our.
It's on Channel 9 in case
The email that went around today.
You need to turn it on.
65 past players received this email to get behind you, stop having factions, and get behind and support you.
Can I ask who sent it?
I won't say who sent it, but it was a past player who sent it, and
A significant
past player went to pretty much throws 365 names on this email.
Jesus.
If you've got a gripe, get over yourself and get on and back with Andrew Welsh.
Yeah, and the response to that email has been phenomenal. And
wow.
So let's be part of the solution to get our club back to where we want it to be, rather than the problem. And at many times a feeling of self at the head of the club. The coach seems to have a big problem with Essendon people.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Some of you are not getting it because you're on delay, so I won't do that. I'll turn it down and we'll get back to talking about just mute it, Fiona. Don't turn it down. There you go. All right. The chat, you guys, Anna, Stephen, my apologies. Let's get on to Corey. How are you, Corey?
Not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. Bit tired, but I'm right.
Yeah? What's happened? Busy week?
I had my end of season footy trip over the weekend in Adelaide, so I've just spent the last 4.5 days running amok. So.
If you did, be honest. If we did you a breathalyzer right now, is it gonna be off the charts or?
I'd be if you told me 18 hours earlier, absolutely, but otherwise, I think I'll be right now.
Oh, very, very good. So how was it? Good? It was a good celebration?
Yeah, it was
Oh, no. We've lost Corey.
sorry. Oops,
I've
I
lost
can
you.
see you, but hold on. Oops,
I can't see you.
hold on.
I can hear you.
Hold on. I can. Yeah, hold on. Give me a second.
Okay. Well, I must say, I didn't know. I'll try taking you out and then bringing you back in, Corey. I almost didn't know if I was going to be able to do this because my modem's had a big red light all day on it. And I had emails from TPG saying that there was an outage and it did not come on until about 3 o'clock. So up until 3 p.m., it wasn't happening, really. All right, there we go. Corey's back.
Oh, sorry.
Gotcha. No, you're right. All right,
You
so
there?
tell me, how do you yes, that's right.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
Brian's right. That was
I've
a
lost
visual
something. I can't hear
representation
anything.
of your week. A blackout.
Amen.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell me
Basically.
tell me what's your thoughts on everything going on?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think we are very delayed.
The right move's obviously been made with Welsh being president. So yeah, it's going to be good to see. Good to see what he can bring to the table.
Are you there?
All right. It's on a bit of a
Jeez.
delay here.
Usually Corey's connection is
Yeah,
very,
I'm
very
here. It's
good.
just on a bit of a delay.
Yeah.
I can't hear talking through it. Sorry.
Yeah, I can hear the question myself. This is a disaster. Can you get out? I'll put the link back in. Can you re-click on? All right, I'm just going to take that as a yes. All right, give me a hot minute. This is a hot fire mess, much like our football club, but that's okay. Everything on brand here. All right, while he's getting back on here, let's have a chat to Richard. Hey, Richard.
Hey, how you going?
I'm pretty well. How are you?
I'm all right. You know, never a dull moment with this club, isn't it?
I mean, as I said on Twitter today, I mean, we are a lot of things, but boring we're not. And the media are just lucky we exist because or else they'd be sitting on their hands doing sweet fuck all.
You wouldn't think there's a grand final on in a few days, would you?
Exactly. I'd be so pissed off. Honestly, I'd be really pissed off. You just want the whole week to be about your club when you make it. I mean, these two, but you know what? These teams make it to grand finals all the time. So who gives a crap, really?
I guess. But you think the Geelong and Brisbane fans would be they'd be even more pissed off at us now, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
It's like
I agree.
what the hell has Essendon done, and we're not even being talked about?
Yeah, remember we're irrelevant, Richard. Don't forget, we're so irrelevant.
Oh yeah,
we're utterly,
so irrelevant.
completely
Yeah,
irrelevant. Yeah, exactly.
fold the
Anyway,
club. Fold the club. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, nobody's gonna have any stories to write if we bloody fold. We keep everyone.
Oh
We're
yeah,
keeping people in
up.
business.
We're propping up like 60% of AFL media, aren't we?
So true. They are just frothing right now. I mean, as I said, it wouldn't surprise me if they've just put tracking devices on all the Essendon people's cars and they're just going where they go because there's going to be something coming from it. So
there's always something. Yeah.
How are you feeling about the news today, Richard?
It was interesting at first. Well, I heard about the board, the rumored board, what do you call it, spill. That got me concerned because I was thinking that's the last thing we need right now is another turnover on the board. But then I heard that obviously you got the letter from Dave and then the letter from Welsh as well. So I was less concerned hearing that it was kind of just an acceleration of the succession plan they already had. My main worry was what were they going to do with Brad, because again I'm in the camp of you got to let Brad see this out. Let him, improve the staff around him, obviously, but let him see out his contract at least. And then if it's no good in 2 years, whenever it is his contract finishes, then reassess and maybe you go in a different direction then. But you can't just, right now is such a critical time. You can't reset now when we're already in the middle of this full refresh of the list. So I'm at least from what I've heard, it seems like Welsh wants to keep Brad on. So I hope that happens. And
Yeah,
then we
you're
just pretty
right.
much go on.
We're like smack bang in the middle of the rebuild, like smack bang in the middle. So you either forage forward or you just take a step back and blow it all up. And I
Again.
think again, why to me logically, why would you when we're already halfway? Are we halfway through it? Halfway, middle, maybe a little bit less than halfway. Why not just keep
Yeah.
going? I don't know.
I mean, I would call this you would call probably the last off season the official start of the rebuild, I guess.
Okay, so not halfway.
I mean, based off the moves that were made. I mean, I remember because you've gone over this a few times as well, but it's pretty clear after Brad's first season, he assessed the list wasn't good enough, so he started to make moves then. But
Yeah.
the fact that they didn't re-sign Stringer, they didn't extend Laverty, they didn't extend Shield last off season is
Yeah.
clear. It was clear signs to me that like, okay,
Mm.
they're not pursuing this core. This core is not going to be our core for the foreseeable future. It's basically the senior players we have now will keep you on until the end of your contract, but you're not going to get extended essentially.
Interesting.
And obviously bringing in 7 draftees last year, bringing in whatever is going to be 4 or 5 this year, pretty clear that it's a rebuild. So
Yeah, and that kind of ties into
yeah,
when Rosa kind of took reins. He obviously
yeah,
assessed the list whilst, the administration are doing what they do in the background. And, it was very clear. I think Rowan Connolly has come on here and said many times the club is aware that this list is not good enough, that this list is not going to play in a grand final or in
yeah.
finals. So the culling had to begin. And so far, I don't know about you, Richard, but I reckon Matt Rose has nailed all the delistings and the decisions so far this year and since he came in the door. So may that continue.
Yeah, I'm pretty much I'm agreed with what they've done so far with what Rose has done, and I think it's the right way because that's what the I don't want to get too angry because this really kind of gets me annoyed when I
No.
see things online of people saying Brad's taken us backwards, and my main response to that would be backwards from what?
That's so
backwards
true.
from backwards from eighth to 12th every year, 10
Yeah.
9 to 10 wins every year, no finals wins
So
every year.
true.
Like, what have we gone backwards from? We have gone backwards
So
from being completely bang average to rebuilding, which is that's what happens. You go backwards to go forwards. So the people that are
nailed
complaining
it.
about Brand saying we've gone backwards, yes, that's what a rebuild is. So
So true. Oh, Richard coming with the facts. That is so true and well said. Yep, you said that
yeah,
really
and
well.
so it was clear that previous senior core, with Merrett included, but the senior core we have had the last 4 or 5 years, the best they could do is 11 wins, 7th at best, and week 1 we get knocked out. That's the best they could do. That's the best they
Yeah,
did under Brad, under Rutten, and under Woosher. That's all they've done.
nailed it.
So,
You're
so
getting
what
so
else?
much
What is there
love
to do?
in the chat, Richard. You're absolutely
I mean,
nailing it. Stop
yeah,
talking
it's.
so
I
much
mean, you
sense.
can.
Just
It's
but
it's
don't.
basically what it is. We've all seen it. We all see that that's the best they've done under 3 different coaches. So you have to rebuild. You have to then this last draft, this draft, and maybe next year, with any luck, that's going to be our core for the next 10 years. They hope. I'm guessing.
Spot on. Well,
Yeah.
all the and I think people should be. I know it's not tangible. I know you have to trust me. When I say you, I mean everyone watching. I know you have to trust me, and you have to trust, Scott from the Lunchtime Catch Up podcast. But you have to just put a little bit of faith in us that the core that Richard just mentioned is so incredibly determined and motivated, almost in a hysterical way, almost in a barbaric way to get back. They're on holidays, but they are frothing to get back and train and take this club and be leaders already. And I mean, not that I've had connections like this in the past when this young the Zach Merretts and Langfords and Parishes were at their young, so I don't know what their attitudes were back then when they were young, but I'm talking Roberts and, Caddy and Dursma. I know he's not a young, but they are motivated and very, very, very strong in their defiancy to take this club far and to change the perception of the club.
And I've seen that too. Obviously, with Roberts, he's got the right attitude. Kennedy seems to have the right attitude. Kako as well. So those are the guys that I'm looking for. Like they're going to be the future stars hopefully of the club. And then, I mean, it's not to say that we need to get rid of all of the others, Redmond, Wright,
No.
those guys necessarily. Some of them will probably still be here when we hopefully go back up again. But I'm saying you can't just be them. It has to be. We need to refresh the core and supplement whatever we have left in terms of seniors with new players that have a higher ceiling.
What's your opinion? I think your internet's gone a bit shaky. Everyone's internet's going down. I don't know what's going on, but what's your opinion on trying to target other players potentially from other clubs and maybe bypassing a little bit, not ignoring the draft completely, but trying to bring in some experience given that we are going to be losing, oh my God, somebody do the math for me, losing Goldstein, Shield, potentially Merrett, Draper. What's your opinion on bringing potential players from other clubs in?
Yeah, it would depend on who. I mean, for instance, I don't see the point in going after like a
I'm so sorry, Richard. Your connection has died on us, and yeah, you sound like we're getting every second word, unfortunately.
Okay.
Is it move your phone? Maybe I don't know. Has anything changed?
Any difference? I don't know.
No.
Is that better?
Try talk again.
Any better or the same?
No, it's the same. Sadly, if you wanna click off and then click on, you're welcome to. It's just a little bit inaudible at the moment.
Go off and then come back.
Sounds good. Okay, sounds good. Shaky Snake losing 7,700 years experience. It certainly feels like that. But that was great. He was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Hopefully Richard clicks on. All right. Hello, Dennis.
Hello, Fiona.
How are you?
I'm getting feedback. Like I can hear myself.
I can hear myself
I'm
too.
good.
Maybe it's my connection. This is not good. If everybody's all right, you know what? I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to let you say. You just give me your feelings on how everything is panning out for you today.
I'm hearing you say things twice, but I'll just plow through, right? Yeah. I'm hearing you oh, this is weird. But like, look, I think sometimes the AFL's a bit of a if you ask me. The AFL media kind of drumming up this notion of investment in I think Welsh was always going to be president. I think he's a good choice. Lee Matthews said it's never as bad as it seems, never as good as it seems. So, like, I'm sure about the Bombs, going forward. So, I don't really buy into all of the hysteria, to be honest. We've got a good young players. We've got a good draft hand. I'm hoping we can draft up and get the younger Jersey. But we're going to get 3, 4, 5, good young players and bugger it. Zach and Lee are like, I don't really, look, I don't think like no one single player makes a difference. What do you reckon?
I agree, Dennis. I think I'm so at the point. I'm so over it now that I'm almost. If you don't want to be here, I'm so okay with that. Just go elsewhere, but let's get our fill. Let's get reward for whoever player it is, and let's start on continue on the rebuild that we're on with players who
Yeah.
actually want to put 100% effort in, because I know for a fact that there's a core group of players, young players,
Yeah.
who are so motivated at the moment to take this club forward. And I think that's an attitude and that's an energy you can really build upon and build around. And I know that they really take to Brad Scott. That's been all the feedback I've gotten. That's not a me boasting up Brad Scott's bum. That's just the facts that I get. So
I'm still hearing you twice,
sorry.
but
Hearing me once is bad, but
right. It's weird. But no, look, I agree with what you said. You know, like I've had relatives that played back in the day, and like we never used when I was growing up. We never used to miss a game of or like I come from a family that's really embedded in the bonds, and like, my whole week would be ruined if we lost.
yep.
Right, but in recent years, I don't know what it is. I think what players get paid now, they're real elites. And the hype. I don't know. It's just it doesn't hit like it used to. But
So
of
is that
course,
because Essendon have become less? Have you found that your energy for the club and the game has waned because of the lack of success?
no, not really. It's really the AFL. I don't know the AFL. I don't know if it's because it's so woke. I don't know what it is, but I still go to games. I'm still a member, and
Good.
like I can always take a positive out of a loss. Like I'm more dirty on, the equalisation business. Like I was looking at a stat the other day where there's 4 or 5 clubs that have dominated since the 2000s. Like Geelong, Hawthorn, Sydney, Brisbane, Collingwood, right?
Yep.
Like, I'd like to see from one year to the next, like the 8 inverted, right? Like, I'd get back and probably, get back a lot of enthusiasm for the game if that was the case.
I guess that's what they're
But,
trying to do with the wild card. It feels like that's
yeah,
what the AFL are trying to do with the wild
yeah,
card, but
yeah.
I don't think it'll work.
Yeah, well, currently, free agency was supposed to address this, right? But what you find is the free agents are generally going to keeping the same clubs at the top. So, yeah, it's a bit of a turn off for me.
That's
But
disappointing. I hate hearing that. I mean, do you think I mean, I think this is human nature, so don't feel like you have to say no, but do you think if Essendon was winning or if they were playing finals, you would just kind of suck it up and you'd be like, "Oh, okay."
honestly, if the same teams were in the bottom 4 every year, I'd still feel bad about the competition. Like,
Yeah.
competition where any of the 18 teams or whatever win on any given year. Like, that gives me excitement. I'm less parochial like about my team than I used to be. Like, only
Yeah.
that, I don't like some of the, parochialism that you get, when people
Yeah.
slag you off because, your team lost to their team. So,
Yeah.
well, how many possessions did you get to? Like I
Yeah,
sort of get
yeah. Understood.
tired of that parochial business. The AFL loves it, of course, right, because it sells the game. But, like, don't get the wrong idea, I'm red and black, like
Good.
all of my family is, right? But,
Good.
yeah, I mean,
Well,
and again, going back to the media, I mean, there's such trollers, right? They
yeah.
like generate this narrative, and then everyone buys in. Understand it, but for me, you know, I'm a lot less coerced by that these days, you know.
Yeah, that must be a learned skill because I'm still learning about that.
Yeah, I know. I think the breaking point for me was the 1999 prelim against Carlton. You remember?
With the well, sort of.
Right. Yeah, you're younger than me, but I got so bent out of shape by that game. Like we should have won, obviously, but and, you know, we probably would have won a couple of premierships in a row. You know, that was sort of my peak parochialism back then. Since
Fair
then,
enough.
and again, all the media, you know, bashing over the peptide thing just turned me off over the time, you know. But,
Yeah, they really like over the last couple of years, I've found that the last couple of weeks, I should say, sorry, with the pushing of the Zach Merrett and just I don't know, it was just tasteless, and it just left a real ick about the reporting of it. It's almost like they were just salivating at the drama and the fans losing their minds and the misery that was being felt, and even like coming out and then saying Zach Merrett's not doing great, not feeling great, and like salivating at the idea of that. It's just a big ick. So I've certainly I've lost any respect for them, but I still find myself biting sometimes. So I keep learning, Dennis. But anyway, thank you so much for jumping on. Well done on your Bomber Banter debut.
They're like vultures, I'll just say.
100%. 100%.
Look,
Hopefully,
thank you.
Hopefully next time the connection is a bit better. I think it's the software system actually that's being a big.
I think it could be my fault. Yeah. Anyway,
no, I think it could be a mixture of all of ours. But anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate you, Dennis, and I'll hopefully see you next time.
Thank you, Fiona.
Good night. Bye. All right, let's try and get Corey back. All right, Corey, take 3.
What's happening?
Okay, I think we got you. You got me?
Yeah, I do. Clear as day.
Okay, good. All right. Tell me how you feel before the minions in the sky drop us out again.
I feel good.
Okay.
Very enjoyable trip with the boys. There was 20 of us that went over. The flight back was absolute tears. It was a very very dusty flight home, but it was very well, good fun.
Oh, okay, good. Sounds good. All right, tell me how you feel about Essendon. That's why we're here. What's your opinion? What do you think about Zach Merrett? Where did we leave you?
Zach Merrett just basically filled out the rehearsed thing they would say to the media, basically, just to shut them up, I think, because he hasn't obviously made his mind up, or if he has, he's not telling anyone. But in my honest opinion, it's more likely than unlikely that he goes. So if he does, good luck to you. I won't boo him, even though if he goes to Hawthorn, regardless. I hate Hawthorn because half my family are Hawthorn supporters. But for what he's done for the club over 12 years, I can't fault him for the effort.
But have you been comfortable with how he's gone about it, though?
No, because it was the wrong way of going about it, regardless of having the same player manager as Brad Scott and Sam Mitchell. Geez, that would have been an awkward conversation to have between the three of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then the media just blowing it up day by day, week by week, just barracking for their own story. They didn't help the situation either, so I don't agree with the way they've gone about it either. Yeah,
that's fair enough. All right, so that takes us to, I guess, the whole presidency turnover today.
Yeah, no, I reckon it's going to be a great appointment, as you said before earlier in the chat, that Tom Bellchambers, with his response about Andrew Welsh and how confident he is about the club moving forward. And if past players like that are coming out with a glowing response like that, I'll back the bloke to the hills.
Yeah. I mean, the succession plan was always there. I think it's just been accelerated. I'm hoping not because of pressure from past cohorts. And chat, I know Andrew Welsh is now not he's obviously had his time on Footy Classified, but can someone fill us in about what's the whole situation about that Heard said about a email that went around? Apparently someone sent an email or something to 300 people backing in Andrew Welsh. So hopefully that's a really good message, if that's true, to hear that some past players are actually backing him in, because obviously Paul Little and a cohort of some players and administration are actually pushing for a board spill and to out Brad Scott. So if that's the case, then that's a fair amount of past players who are actually coming to his defence.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
Oh, that's good to hear, Dave. He spoke amazing. Okay. That's good. Oh, here we go. Adam, 300 past players sent an email of support to Welsh. That's great. That's great. Because they would have to do that, because the rumblings were there that past players are getting together with Paul Little to out the board, and that leaves uncertainty for Welsh too. So I'm sure he really appreciated it.
For sure. The one thing I think now it goes to the pressure on, regardless that we might be average in 2026, is trying to improve the players that we have in the list. Obviously, drafting well like Matt Rose did last year, and seeing what we can do going forward. And I think the only people that I think that are under pressure will be the line coaches, and the people around Brad Scott will have the pressure around him.
Yeah, I still would love a director of coaching, someone there as a, I don't know, like a Gandalf, the energy of Gandalf the Great, looking over Brad Scott and helping him, like just some wise head, with a magic wand and saying, "What do you need, Brad? I got you." Because as strong and defiant and focused as Brad Scott is, we all human. Brad Scott does not escape humanity, and he's going to falter sometimes and have loss of hope and loss of faith, and he's going to jump off the course every now and then emotionally, and he needs support too. And I still would love a director of coaching. I really do. But and you make a good point with the line coaches. I've said it in the video. The more you go into it and you compare to other clubs, I just think there's just a clear lack of sustained success from the other clubs, from the line coaches have been in their pasts. Coming from successful cultures and successful periods, our coaches don't have that.
Yep, I believe I wrote down a list in the off season once we'd finished of who I'd want personally to have as line coaches. I know they won't probably come to Essendon, but in a perfect world, I'd love someone like a Cade Simpson, who was just an honest, really, really good backman. Yeah, he was at Carlton, and he wasn't part of much success, but he was a very good backman, and I believe he could teach a lot more than what the current ones have. From a midfield point of view, I want Jamie Graham from Fremantle, and from a forward line point of view, would either be, I know he's not there anymore, but I did rate him as a player, would be Ben McGlynn, who used to be at Sydney.
Some great suggestions there. Maybe send an email to the new president.
Yeah, I think he would know deep down. I would like to think that we can change, that we can obviously get change with that moving forward, I believe, because I think that is the biggest issue, because if Scott doesn't have the experience around him, he's not going to improve himself. And like you said, and people have said in the chat, Ken Hinkley would be unreal to have. I can't imagine him going to Essendon, but it would be awesome to have him.
Hey, chat, what did Ken Hinkley say on Classified when he was talking about the role that Essendon offered him? Did it sound probable that he could take it, or very unlikely? Because I would love some. That's the ilk that I'm talking of. Ken Hinkley, John Longmire, someone who's been there before, who's got the experience, who doesn't want the top role, is there purely to be the spiritual wizard for Brad Scott. That's the energy I'm going for,
Could you go for someone like a Leon Cameron? I know he's been out of the game for a little bit, but could you have him as the director of coaching?
Yeah, I would, 100%. He's somewhere, though. I do know he's someone. Chat, please confirm. Even Adam Simpson, I think I said that, but I'm pretty sure I've seen Leon Cameron on in a coach's box or somewhere.
Okay.
But no, he would. That's the kind of guy. That's the kind of mold. Your Brendan Bolton type mold. So, yeah, look, I don't know that we're going to have any changes to the coaching group, which is a bit up.
No, we won't. They've already re-signed.
Correct, because if we would, it would have already happened. So, unfortunately, but I will say, I mean, strength and conditioning, big tick, that's been turned over and it's looking really good. So, I mean, that's something we can hold our hats on, hopefully. But you're right, it does take it requires a full club to win finals and to get up the ladder. It requires a full club, quality on all levels, including the coaching group. So we'll see how we go, Corey. Thanks for jumping back on.
No worries. Thank you kindly for letting me back on.
See you later. See ya. All right, let's go back to Richard. Have I got you, Richard?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. Lovely.
Okay.
All right, let's go back to the question that I left you with in that it was, if anybody wasn't here, bringing players, trading for players from other clubs.
Yeah, I was just saying it depends on what sort of player it would be, because I know there's a tendency of, such and such small forward, such and such key forward is, a free agent now. And you bring him in, and then 6 months down the road, you find out, why can't Elachka, I think is his name.
Elachka. Yep.
Yeah. Why can't he get a game? It's like, because this 31-year-old small forward is playing, and we can't drop him now, so now we can't develop the guy we wanted to draft and play anyway. Or
I see where
like
you're going
bringing
with
in. Yeah, or like bring in Rowan Marshall, which I think is kind of pointless because we've got Blackiston who can play until Brian gets healthy, can't we? He's a ruckman, so why don't we just play him? And then people say,
unbeknownst
Blackiston's
to the rest of the competition and to probably himself this year, probably questioning if it's a ruckman anymore.
But even if people, and it's not like Blackiston's some world beater, but it's the people saying, Blackiston's not that good. It's like, great. So we could bring in Rowan Marshall and we'll still lose the same number of games. So why not just play Blackiston? And then you're not wasting a list spot on Rowan Marshall.
Yep.
And paying him, I don't know, 850, 900 is probably what he'd ask for because he's a good ruckman. But is Rowan Marshall the difference between us finishing 16th and finishing 7th? No, probably not. So it's players like that don't really make much sense. I mean, I could understand if you wanted to bring in I know they talked about bringing in like a Travis Boak like a couple of years ago. That player I can sort of understand because
I think he's going to sign with the Dogs as a coach. Unfortunately, I would have loved him.
I think it's probably too late now. But I know they were mentioned like a year or two ago, and it would have been good because he doesn't have to play every week, but he's good for the young players, and he can mentor and that sort of thing. And he seems to be an unselfish player, unlike players like I don't know, like I guess Shields kind of comes across as a very sort of not the most selfless player. In
no
that
interest in teaching and supporting and developing his fellow babies. Yes, I think that's safe to say.
Yeah. Like the ultimate example would be like when we had James Kelly. He was such a good pickup for that year.
He was.
Great player. Still was a good player for us and also a great mentor at the time.
Yeah.
That's the sort of player you want to try and find, but they're hard to find. So
Yeah, you're right. It's a good. I think somebody else said it in the chat. If you got the young players, this is the time. We're in the middle of the rebuild. You just play them and you see what they got, and then you turn them over. This is when you play the young players and see what they're made of, and see if they're made of anything. And then if all else fails, you just go and raid Geelong's delisted list. That's what I would do, because clearly they know they're getting something right in the water down there. So. It's going to be interesting times ahead. Trade period starts 6th of October. So that's what, a week, or is that next week? Is the 6th next week? End of next week, I believe. So it's going to be very interesting. I do 2 weeks. Okay. I do believe we are talking to players. I mean, every club is talking to players. So there might be one or two that pop up that haven't even been mentioned in the media. So we'll wait and see. Thank you so much, Richard.
Okay, thanks.
Good to have you.
Yeah.
Catch ya. Oh, I think we ended Richard just when the connection was going a bit crappy. All right, what did Hinkley say, chat? Moby, Hinkley's on holiday and will not leave South Australia. That's why we offered him, fly in, fly out. We'll make his decision in a month or two. Oof. Okay. Hey, Mike, thank you for the $2. I don't know. Am I Krusty the Clown in this scenario? I mean, we'll take that. It's okay. Sorry, I'm just catching up on the chat. You're all just talking amongst yourselves. Okay. Hey, Dave.
Hello. How you going?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
What are
A
your
bit of a
feelings?
whirlwind. Oh, it's a bit all over the place. It's hard to kind of ground your feet on one news story before another one comes out, and then you're just kind of looking like a cat chasing his own tail. Yeah, it's been interesting. I've been kind of the one thing, and I know you touched on it before. The one thing that's really kind of energized me is the young kids who are hearing the news of the culture's bad or anything like that, and they want to come out and create their own culture. So how good's that to show leadership at 19 and 20 years old and 18 even, and for some of those young guys that have come out and done that and said that. So how
And
good's
I'll
that?
tell you, any of them who you are seeing being spoken about doing medicals at other clubs, just take it from me, from the horse's mouth, just do not get sucked into that. They are just as infuriated with those rumours as everybody else is. So just don't get sucked in.
Oh yeah, you can't. It's especially when they're on holidays as well, where they're supposed to be getting medicals done and stuff. It seems a bit interesting, but I don't know. You like your psychology and stuff like that, don't you? So is Zach Merrett a bit of a narcissist?
That's a straight to the
It's not.
bat down the line question that you're hitting me with,
No,
Dave.
but it's not. Being a narcissist isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's the way he's been spoken about is that he's waiting, he's thinking kind of everything at Essendon's about him, and he wants the people to come to him and everything. But as a captain, he should be the one going to everyone, going to these young kids, and and trying to make them better rather than waiting for the young kids to come to him and stuff like that. I don't know. I wrote the word down when you were talking about him before.
I think there's certainly a lot of me about the way he's gone about this, and I think if anybody's dismissing that, then they're not looking carefully. You can have a deep love for Zach Merrett and a deep respect for him, and you can still acknowledge that this has been a really selfish way to go about it. And on the flip side, also, playing the victim in certain areas of the situation hasn't sat particularly well with me when especially because he threw the first missile. Now, that's not a generalization of his, overall character, but certainly how he's gone about this situation, and also insights into his leadership that I have been privy to from people inside. I personally, perhaps that's why I don't feel too devastated that he's leaving. Like I felt devastated when Sard left or Danaher left, and that's not to say that they were glowing individuals. I don't know, but I certainly can see the clear air possibly if he goes. So I think he'll have regrets. I do. I personally, I really strongly believe he'll have regrets about how he went about this, and it was probably actioned on emotion rather than how they say I was always told, and from a mentor of mine, you don't make big decisions in the midst of chaos when your mind is chaotic, when your mind and your body and your nervous system is chaotic and on rocky waters, and it feels like he's made a big call and thrown a big missile and agreed to go over to dinner to Sam Mitchell's house because he was angry at the club, and it feels like it was a very emotionally driven decision. So I believe, even if he's not conscious of it, I think he'll have regrets moving forward, and when he does look back on this. And before anybody any troll come out and says it, I think he'll have regrets even wearing a premiership medal around his neck when it's all said and done. So, look, I'm at peace either way. I don't see how he could hold the captaincy if he does stay, but that's my only take.
No, I definitely think it should go to Eddie as well. I think he's the perfect person for the perfect time. And kind of where it comes at now to
Oh no. We've lost Dave, and now I'm starting to think it's me. Guys, am I coming through okay? Or is it just my guests who are not? Can somebody please confirm? Because if it's me, I can't hear you, Dave. I'm so sorry. Can you just confirm, chat, am I coming through okay? It's just the guests? Because if that's the case, then it must be the software and not my Wi-Fi. And so I don't have to go and yell at TPG again. Just the guests. Okay. All right, well, we'll try the next one. Joe, are you going to go any better?
No, I'm just joking. Gotcha.
You did. I'm the most gullible person in the world, though, so you can't really take that as a win. I'm so sorry because I
don't know. I still had some fun. I got a laugh out of myself. So that's I got Jack as well.
You're getting a laugh. You're getting a laugh out of the chat. So there you go.
It's just feel good, guys. Life's too short. Life's too short to be crying about boardroom politics and backstabbing sons of bitches. Life's too short. Just look at the kids coming through. Who cares if we've got narcissistic, self-absorbed captains that want to get out? Fine, go, do your thing. We've still got Roberts. We've still got Clark. We've still got Caddy. We've still got so many incredible young players in this list. And Buick is coming, Shano. That's right. Buick is round the corner. We've got Lushar coming. We've got Suede next year. This is going to be the place where you want to be. This is the place where you want to be. And the media is trying to distract you from this fact. And it's trying to bombard you with the sky is falling. The Essendon Football Club is nothing. It's irrelevant. I mean, they basically ridicule themselves with all this talk of Essendon is irrelevant. You can't take anything they say with not even a grain of salt. It's all just distraction. And I honestly could not give two shits about what the media have to say about us, because I know that the harder the media piles on, it just goes to show that you've got this inherent bias against them. There is an inherent hatred. And every time Kingy has nothing good to say about Brad Scott, it's because there's history between the two of them. You know that they hate each other.
Now, like it's just so blatantly obvious. He should just give it up, because even the most dense person can see what it is. So he really should just give it up. Really?
100%. Exactly. And Jay Clark has probably pinched a tent somewhere outside at the hangar, trying everything he can to, this person's walked in, this person's walked out, this guy's got a really bad fart. He must have had some beans. I don't know what's going on with Jay Clark, but he also really hates us. He's a Hawthorn man himself. So honestly, could not care less about what the media has to say. Feel good, feel optimistic. The future is bright. We are in the middle of a rebuild. The club has done the right thing in sticking the course. Thank you, Dave Barham. You were that wrecking ball of change that had to come in to put us on this rebuild. If we took any longer, we weren't going to be able to get it done in time before Tassie. Now, Tassie, of course, we don't know about Tassie, if it's going ahead or not, but you have to plan as if it is. That's the worst case scenario. All draft picks go out the window. Everything is gone to Tassie, all the concessions. Yeah, we had to get onto the rebuild ASAP. We've had 20 years of nothing. Exactly what Richard was saying. You can't go backwards from nothing. So it's all about... Richards was so good.
You are bloody sensational. You cannot go backwards from nothing. Where are we going backwards from? 9th? 10th? What does Solution call that? He calls that exile, doesn't he? Like the land of the exile. where you just
Yeah, the
languishing at
land
ninth.
of the valley of the shadow of death.
Yeah, the shithousery of draft picks, the almost but not good enoughness of like it's so true. You're going backwards from where? Might as well go back and then stock up and then, hopefully get to the top. But okay,
Exactly.
let's play devil's advocate on that argument just because for the sake of some, both sides of the argument. What's Kangaroo's excuse then? Because they've dropped and they've traded. And I'm saying that with respect to any Kangaroo supporters here. I'm genuinely asking your opinion on that. What is their excuse then?
It's amazing. I actually was going to raise North Melbourne. I swear, I was going to raise North Melbourne. I got the ladder open in front of me here on this tab, and they finished 16th. They finished below us on the ladder.
That doesn't bode well for our rebuild then, because they've been rebuilding with kids for a long time now, and they're still down there. I think
it's more problem on them than for us.
Why would our rebuild be any better than what they've done by going to the draft over and over?
Because they have done it so poorly. They've been doing it for how many years now, and yet despite us having more injuries than the length of the Flemington Straits, and us debuting 15 players, the most ever in a single season, they still couldn't get ahead of us. I think it's ultimately a massive indictment on North Melbourne, who have Clarkson as well. Someone that we were dying to get into this, trying to get into our club, remember, when we sacked Rutten, and then Barham quickly tried to get onto Clarko. So even Clarko, who everyone was complaining that we couldn't land, that he went to North Melbourne, even Clarko can't resuscitate what's happening at North Melbourne. They have got so many issues off the field. They have a lower supporter base. Their list management isn't quite right either. They keep drafting a bunch of players that don't quite build a spine that you can build around. They're just simply picking what's best available. Like them picking Dersma instead of picking Nate Caddy, to me, I think was a really big problem. They've been dying to have another key forward to play alongside Larkey. They've refused to draft any key defenders. They can keep complaining that they haven't had the father sons, or they haven't had because when they've had the number one pick, it's been taken off them. They've still had first dibs. They've had assistance from the AFL. We've clearly shown that our list is in a much better position, and the people behind our list at this current stage are much better. We're picking up players from a lot further down the draft that are doing really well. Look at Zach Johnson, for example. I think we have a lot of upside to our draft, to our team, when the fact that you look at everything that could have gone wrong this year did go wrong, and we're still ahead of North Melbourne. Like that still shocks me how poor they are in a situation. Whereas for us, the sky is the limit. We've got season with the enforcer Roberts taking all these other young players under their belt. Angus Clark's a goer, Lual's a goer. There's so many players in our team that have an insatiable desire to win. They want to get really good. They want to embrace the team. They want to lead it. And all of this question marks, older players retiring now, moving on senior players, the club is now really encouraging the youth to step up and take it for themselves. Whereas at North Melbourne, they tend to just still keep gifting games to players that aren't really that good. They really should not be there. North Melbourne have refused to pull to rip the Band-Aid off that we have done ourselves. We've committed to a rebuild. We're in the middle of it, and the club's on the right job to stay the course with Brad, to stay the course with Rosa, to not have a board spillage, to let Dave Barham take the fall now. Thank you so much for your services. Now Welshie can come in and take the next step. This is exactly what we're supposed to do, and I'm really keen to see where this takes us moving forward.
So are we saying, so I'm summarising that, and I'm saying that the difference being that North haven't developed and possibly chosen and gone wrong when drafting the type of calibre player that they actually need.
Yeah, absolutely. Their development has been very poor. Like, you can't name any gun players that have improved outside of people that you know absolutely are going to be guns. Like Sheasel, you know, is going to be a gun. He stepped in a gun, and you know who's going to end a gun. It's not like he necessarily needs a lot of improvement. You know, Tristan Sherry, again, one of their best players. He's had a lot of years to develop under Goldstein, who taught him everything he knows. So those guys, you can sort of tell we're going to be good.
The reason I'm asking is because it's just as important to be aware of what not to do as it is to be aware of what to do. And North Melbourne are the one who clearly continue to go down this rebuild via the draft because they've struggled to get free agents. They've struggled to get stars and attract a really strong caliber of player because of where they, lack of success, lack of money to offer. Well, they have plenty of money, but lack of success is probably where they fall. So it's important to know what not to do. So I think that's putting a real dent and I guess just asterisks on recruitment and developing. And hopefully we've got a big 2 weeks coming up in trade week and after that, the draft.
Yeah. I'm not concerned we're going to walk down the North Melbourne route. We're not. And I hope you're not concerned we're walking down the North Melbourne route. I mean, we've already started.
I just wanted to play devil's advocate because North are down there and, we need to make sure that we're not doing what they're doing and we're looking at what they're doing wrong because they're going the draft and they're not going much higher. So what is going wrong for them? Development. They haven't been cruel by injuries too much, so clearly their strength and conditioning is pretty okay. So development and or trade and drafting decisions.
In Rosa, we trust.
In Rosa, we trust. Okay, so before I let you go, Joe, what is your view on the possibility that, everyone seems to be very confident in Welsh that he's not puppeteered by, Paul Little and co wanting to eventually bring Hurd back in some capacity, whether you agree with it or want it or not, whatever your views are is totally fine, as is everyone's view here watching. And as always, what's your view on if that's where he's going?
No, I'm pretty confident that he's not puppeteering because he wouldn't be espousing what he's saying in terms of staying the course, in terms of backing in Brad to continue to be the coach, in terms of following the process that was laid before him by Barham. I think what he's doing, I think he said the right thing. And I think he was honest because he was, speaking right into the camera. You see the posture, the body language felt that it was strong. It was assured. This is exactly what we're going to do. And I think he believed what he was saying. And I'm really confident that we're going to see more of the same. We're going to give Brad his contract. We're going to give Brad his time to work on it. Because there is a Zen poem that I read in a book, a Zen poem
/ saying. Poetry to Bomber Banter. Hit me.
He who runs fast stumbles. So put one step in front of the other, deliberate steps. Don't go rushing in blindly and succumbing to outside pressures and noise. Just keep putting one step forward, one sure step, one after the other, and you'll eventually reach your destination. Now, the real reason why I bought that book was because I saw another one saying, he who sleeps with itchy bum wakes with smelly finger. I saw that one and I thought that was really funny. So I bought the book and I'll leave you with that.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know if I had to hit an emergency exit on you there. I didn't know where it was going. Sorry. Okay, I'm still not quite sure the relevance of that, but okay. The poem was great. Thank you. Joe.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much, Joe.
I'll live to serve.
As always. Appreciate your positivity tonight. Catch up.
No worries. Bye.
Bye. Oh, it's my favourite duo, Charlie.
Hello. Good. How are you? How good was Joe?
I mean, he's always quality. It's just always.
I know.
Quality. I never know what he's coming with. Poems.
No, poem really made you think, didn't it?
Comedy. It's a bit of everything. How you doing?
Good. Doing well. Doing very well.
How are you? Love the jumper. How are you seeing the Essendon drama? I haven't spoken to you. Haven't caught up with you and the family since the end of the season. So how are you feeling?
Yes. Hold on. Let me just get him. Ugh.
Hi, Clinton.
Hi, Fiona.
How are you, legend? How you doing?
Yeah.
Hello. Sorry, can you hear us now? We're back on. Sorry, can you hear us now?
I can hear you both.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's been an interesting couple weeks for sure.
It has.
I don't think any of us expected to be this present in September throughout AFL media.
It's not strange.
Yeah, it's kind of refreshing to have September. We're in the headlines, not for the right
Yeah.
reasons, but yeah, no.
How are you feeling about it, Clinton?
Yeah, I mean, it's been difficult for sure. But even the board thing sort of threw me last night when I heard about it. But it had to happen. It had to happen. And Welsh is a good man, as we know. He's very Essendon, and I think he'll do very well. Do very well. You know?
How are you feeling about the Zach Merrett? Because I haven't caught up with how did you feel initially when it all came out, and what were your feelings?
Yeah, upset at the time, but now I've sort of like come to the conclusion that if he goes, he goes. No use holding a player back if he wants to leave and doesn't want to be part of our success, and that wants to get success somewhere else. You know.
Yeah.
But we're watching the Channel 9 show earlier tonight, and Welshie said that Zach Merrett will be playing at Essendon next year, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have to give it to him. He said it to Mitch Cleary today too, and if I wasn't an intuitive witch, I would have believed every word of it, because he was very strong and very, and I would have believed him really, and I think the optics are really important, and he just has to run that line now for the benefit of Essendon getting an exceptional outcome for what is an exceptional player. Forget this year, because he was not at his best mentally, and I said it all year, but he is a top 10 in the competition at his best, and he's got plenty of tickets left in the tank, and plenty of petrol left in the tank, I should say, and he's contracted for another handful of Oh, yeah, get a chair, get comfortable. He's contracted for another handful of years. So, I think unless it's an exceptional offer, then Andrew Welsh should hold him to that.
I think my sort of initial take on it was that if you compare it to like the other captains of our club, Joe Watson, throughout that entire saga, he was front in the media every single time. It was front page, and he stuck by the darkest days of the club. No matter what, he was the leader throughout that entire saga. And now, just because we're not playing incredible, Zach Merrett wants out. Like, I feel like it goes against the sort of culture of the club, and that's why it irks me. Like, I think it's to go behind the back of the club and to do it in a way that, what could possibly have Brad Scott cooked that badly the night before that he's then gone and met with Sam Mitchell for dinner that next night.
Yeah.
I mean, even that's so sly. Like, he obviously knew he went to Brad Scott's dinner knowing that he was having to make sure he didn't just accidentally spill the news that he's going and having dinner the next night. Even that is very icky,
It feels like AFL Love Island is Zach Merrett right now.
He's what I don't watch that show. Is that
like reality TV, like Zach Merrett, like going between, and lying to one coach while deliberately having plans with another, to have dinner.
Yeah. It was definitely that. I may be alone in saying this, but that's why I'm so comfortable if he leaves, because I just can't emotionally have someone, and I know everyone deserves forgiveness, and this is a mistake, and I say I think he'll regret it, but I'm just okay if he leaves. I really am.
I think even he was on the field. Zach Merrett was on the field that day that my hatred for Sam Mitchell started, when he did that to the players.
Yeah.
He was on the field that day, and he did that towards the players who went through that whole saga. He would have seen that. He was a part of the fallout, and then he's gone and done that. And I don't think that that's right at all.
And you know what? You just even reminded me about that. All these old Essendon type players, your Welsh, your Solomon, even Matthew Lloyd, they don't forget. They don't forget that. They hold grudges against shit like that. So all these players of the past that are held in such high esteem because they bleed red and black and they're hungry and they're monsters, they don't do shit like that because they don't forget. They don't forget that Sam Mitchell humiliated.
I remembered I was sitting in the crowd that day watching that game as like an 8-year-old being like, that's not right. Like, that's really mean, you know?
And then Felix had his show today and he spoke about Sam Mitchell may coach Essendon one day, and he said, "Nah."
I just went, absolutely not. It's just if Felix was, who was he talking with? It was a podcast episode today.
Scooter.
Yes. Yeah. And he was like, would you, if like by some chance Sam Mitchell was open to leaving the Hawks, would you want him at the club? And I just went, absolutely not. No. Absolutely not.
And that to me is like exactly what the fire that Kevin Sheedy and the grudges that Kevin Sheedy loved and used as ammunition to beat opponents, not to then go and have dinner with them. Like, use that as your grudge to then go and beat Hawks.
I think it goes against the fundamentals of the 150 years of the club. You know, it just goes against everything.
Yeah,
for Zach Merrett to do that and to be our captain, like even if he was just a player doing that, that's one thing, but to be our captain and doing that is not okay.
So hypothetically, how would you feel if the club stands firm, Rosa says no deal, Welsh says no deal, Hawks can't pay up, won't pay up for whatever reason? How would you feel? Would you be able to just move on? And I know we actually would have no choice. We just move on and he plays out, but how would you feel?
I think it depends on his attitude to it. If he can go, all right, that didn't work, now I'm committed, then you put things in the past. But if he's being a sook and whiny throughout the whole of next year, if he's staying, then that is just no.
Yeah, we don't really have a choice though. Like, he's not the kind of player who you just say go to the VFL and look. I think if he comes back, I think he'll just play football. I think he will just play good football. It's just probably in his nature. But man, if I was a player, I'm probably a bit too emotional. But if I was a player, they probably have the ability to just forgive and forget. But I would just struggle. I really would.
Yeah.
It
will be interesting if that does happen. It'll be interesting to see how the players react and that. You can't really sit him on the sidelines for 2 years and then say, see you later.
Yeah.
No.
Can't do that.
Because you know what? He'll end up leaving anyway. So I think the plan is very clear. We just can keep pushing out there. Absolutely.
Sorry.
Hey, Fiona.
How are you?
How are you, lovely?
Good to see you. Good to see the entire family here.
Great to see you.
How are you doing? Good?
Here at the moment.
Very good, thanks.
Good. Love having the family. Yeah, we're going well here. Bit lonely without too much Essendon content, but of course we're making the headlines every day, so of course there is always something to
single day.
Jump on. We're keeping the media in business and paid, and that's for sure. So I don't know. We'll see how we go.
I always thought our captain was Vanilla. That's what I used to call him, Vanilla. I knew
it. Called it, Sophie. Look at you calling it.
23, we went to one of those like sign session things, the Q&A
one has been kicked out
things. The one he's been kicked out of, one of those. 2023, and Mum was like, "He's not captain material. It's very vanilla, not very."
And I always called him Vanilla. Tipper was there; he was great, but no, Zach Merrett was never. He was.
He's an amazing
footballer. Well, yes. I said it, I put a tweet out in 2022 that somebody sent me proof of that I didn't go searching for. Somebody sent it to me, thank you, Humi, that said he's an exceptional player and leads by example, but he's not the captain that I would put as having the ability to, I guess, lead and hold the, I think the vital necessities that a captain should, inspiring young players and connecting with young players.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not just an opinion
Sorry.
okay.
I wanted to show everyone.
You're making their day
Jesus.
as always.
I wanted to show a cool thing to the live chat before we go. That's So I was working selling footy records at the Legends game.
Oh, yes.
I got a staff pass, but they accidentally gave me the wrong staff pass. I got an all access areas pass just by accident. Like they just handed me the wrong pass. So that allowed me room access afterwards.
Awesome.
So I went in and met Joe Watson, and I said to him, I saw him and I was like, oh my God, you're my hero. Like, oh my God, thank you for everything and the way that you stuck through. You're an inspiration. And then I was like, I would regret it if I didn't ask. And I asked, can I have one of your boots?
Stop it.
That he wore at the Legends game.
Oh my God, Charlie.
Yeah.
Wow.
I could appreciate that. And
oh my gosh, that is magnificent. What a guy's boots to get. And he obviously graciously took it off and gave it to you, did he?
No, it was in his bag because it was on his way out. And he was just like, and then there was like two different pairs, and he was like, which one do you like better?
Oh my God, stop it, this guy.
I was like, I was like that. And then he just gave one of them to me. And then he was like, oh, do you want me to sign it for you as well? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Oh my God, that is so amazing. I mean, as if we needed an excuse to love him anymore.
Just meeting him that day, and it reminded me of everything that he went through as a captain. And it shows
amazing.
The Zach Merrett thing he's not got the right attitude at all. When Joe Watson can do that,
that's amazing, Charlie.
You've
honestly made my night. Cam, you've got one of Watto's slippers, you ripper. Can you read that comment?
Yeah.
That is so special. I'm so happy for you. I mean, the universe made that happen. So you're obviously doing something very right in your life for the universe to give you that accidental opportunity. I mean, if only you probably needed that little reminder there about Job. We all probably needed it.
Just to say that's a captain, who is able to stick through so much. Even Dyson, he stuck through a lot. He stuck through there afterwards, and they were so strong as captains before. I can never recall any sort of trade rumors for Dyson Heppel or Joe Watson throughout their entire careers. There was not one.
They arguably went through worse, more tumultuous times.
They both went through 10 times what Zach Merrett's going through right now. And not once were they even in rumors, and now half our clubs in a trade rumor.
Yeah, news about Riddles. Yeah. News about Riddles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I mean somebody else. Sorry, I can't remember who said it in the chat, but mass exodus. Yeah, I don't think so. It is literally as Scooter and I spoke about on his podcast. This is not a max exodus. This is a Draper who's taking his free agency opportunity for more money, a bit of a different lifestyle. He's a bit of a different cat. Probably is going to really blossom in Brisbane. And then there's Zach Merrett. That's full stop.
Yeah.
So, the media, it's just another reminder for us not to actually buy into the mass exodus bullshit, because at this rate, it's one player. So
and
you've made my night, Charlie. I just have always thought the world of Job, and you just made that so much more apparent to all of us.
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
I want to remind everyone of what a true leader, what a true captain of this club is.
You got to meet my favourite.
Yeah, Tim Watson as well. I
spoke
with Tim Watson that night, and he was he was lovely.
I got his jumper at an auction night one night.
Oh, actually,
in the 90s. And that had his signature on the back.
Before I go, quickly show everyone the photo. Just before I forget.
He is the best, Lorraine. And yeah, hey, Tammy and Nick, how is it over? Oh my gosh, look at that. You look wonderful, Charlie. Look at Joe. Oh my God. I could honestly look at that photo all day. I mean, you look like a kid at Christmas. You look like a kid at Christmas.
And that is the pass. That was the accidental pass.
Hey, well, now you know what to look for next time. And you say, no, not that pass. I actually require that pass.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well done. Good things happening to good people. That's what I like to see.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for dropping by, you legends.
Have a great night.
Sophie, Clinton, Charlie. Thank you.
Yeah,
bye.
bye.
Good night. Bye. Oh my God, stop. Job. Love Job. Talking of legends, hello, Scott. Scooter.
Hello.
Legend.
How are you?
I'm doing much better now. I knew this would cheer me up. How are you doing? How's your day been? Very unproductive, I hear.
Yes. It's been well, you would understand this. It's been my smartphone batteries gets a lot it dies a lot quicker these days.
Three full recharges today. I just wanted to say, yeah, I've had the battery packs. I've got like 5 battery packs floating around. It's give us some insight into how you've seen it play out today from the start to finish, because we know that you've had a lot to do with Barham and his history, and how have you seen it play out today, Scott?
Yeah, I've had that kind of like reflective and calm sense all day. So when I heard the news, and I didn't know it was coming, so when I heard the news, it was obviously initially a surprise. As the day went on, I reflected on it. It gave me a half appreciation for what Dave's done. And it's funny, I thought often in business, sort of linked, if you know my job, but in the corporate world a bit, but often in business, at sometimes when a business goes through the motions and it's kind of dying, you often find a CEO or someone that comes in that's a bit of a sledgehammer and to shake things up, to wake everything up. And that's probably what we've had as far as Dave. But often it actually occurred to me today, often with those people, they're not long-term people, like they are disruptors and that's their personality, but it's actually hard to keep them long-term, that personality. So at some point when you feel like you've come a little bit the full circle, and obviously with the high performance team now coming through, I felt quite calm after it. Well, maybe this might be a positive thing. If Andy's got all the best intentions and there's nothing to say he doesn't. Obviously, Andrew Welsh is a very highly regarded businessman. We know how he was on the field, so we know he's a person who hated to lose. So I think those things go together. I must admit, it was as impressive as an Essendon official spoken for quite a few years for me of what he said tonight on Classified.
Can you give me a bit of insight? Because obviously I've been here, so can you give me a bit of insight in the chat who didn't catch it?
I mean, there was he spoke so well. Like, it actually took me back a bit. It surprised me a bit. But even his connection with Hurdy, and I know that's probably got a few people in the background. There's kind of like this quiet whispers beyond the background and go, what does that mean for Brad Scott? I think you have to be honest. Let's be real. That's a lot of people would be thinking that. What's the flow-on effect? And I got the distinction that Hurdy's very separate to this, and there's an agenda playing out here, and so Hurd revealed that a prominent player, he wouldn't say who, sent an email to 360 past players, and saying, now this has happened, basically cut the bullshit, everyone, stop your pouting and get behind the new president and get behind this club, because enough's enough. and they all kind of started to write back and agreed. And Hurdy was saying that was really, inspiring, and so there was a really good sentiment coming through about hopefully of long lasting, I guess, change and fractions. And obviously Welsh spoke about that a lot, about stopping that side of Essendon. And he said, I don't want to, he basically kind of said, I don't want to hear the old Essendon. I don't want to hear the new Essendon argument. I just want to hear we are Essendon, because I'm only interested in we. And he goes, I'm only interested in Essendon. I'm not interested in old Essendon. I'm not interested in this new Essendon debate. I'm just interested in Essendon. And he said, and he made the comment about how I played was if there was a problem, or how I talk to teammates, if there's a problem, talk it out, fix it, end it. He goes, so that's how I run my presidency. If I hear there's a problem, I'm going to them. Like, sorry, I'm going to. What's the issue? What do I need to fix? Let's fix it. Let's get it done. Let's move on. So he talked about that. As much as we may want to preach stability, he goes, I feel like we've got a good foundation. He said, but that shouldn't limit us on taking risks and pushing the envelope of what we can do as a club, and being aggressive in the market and being aggressive as a club. He spoke incredibly well, and Ken Hinkley was the next guest and kind of hinted that Welshie gave him his number on the way through.
Love that. Just slip in the digits. I have a question about the email. So would this email have also gone out to Paul Little?
Yeah, well, look, honest, hand on heart, it sounded like a past players kind of thing. Okay. Now, I would argue Paul Little may have a lot to do with some past players in that talking area.
That's why I asked.
Yeah. So that may be part of that issue of like, if
because sounds like to me this email, Paul Little is the one who needs this email, because if he's the ringleader, then there's no point stopping the disciples. You've got to stop the ringleader, or you've got to get the message through to the ringleader. No.
Yeah, look, I agree, but it's also maybe just hinting that you'll be called out if you're part of that too.
Right. Okay.
So I think there's a bit of accounting, and the more I think about Andrew Welsh, the more I think about the player side of things. About we obviously have a history of high-profile people, high-profile players that are in media. His gift to the club may be that he can control that side a little bit, that he can get those people around the club. He talked about that there's too many people that we've lost along the way. We've got to be an inclusive club, bring everyone back. So I think he's going to try and have that kind of
What do you think that means, Scott, about we've lost?
I don't think he meant in an employment or role phase, but right. I think he meant that there's some people out there that are with Essendon that rightly or wrongly feel like they've had a moment where they've been burnt, or they've been, and obviously our recent history, there's and there's an also important notion to not just let that just die out as well. Like we have an obligation as a club and a good club to reach out to those people to say everyone is welcome at the Essendon Football Club. So I don't think he was specifically talking about a role or anything like that. I think he was talking about relationships. So he obviously had very much a message of everyone together. But I'll be interested to see if you get to hear it. He was very strong. Like he was very strong on Merrett. That Merrett, like he looked very strong in the camera, and he'll be at our club. No ifs or buts. So he was obviously praised Matthew Innes and talked about the players already having very good feedback on Matthew Innes. Now, that's not company line. I know I've spoken to a player that has actually texted me that message as well. So that's, obviously Ridley made a quote on that about part of his reasoning for coming. Oh, I would say coming back, for staying. Sorry, coming back mentally, maybe.
But didn't go anywhere. But if you ask the media, he was 5 feet out the door. So technically coming back. Well, not technically, but
yeah. So I mean, I always thought Matthew Innes was going to be a very big signing, and because it's no doubt the retention of players is critical at this club, and you can't have guys. He said, I understand people celebrating 15 debutants and how exciting it was, but we can't have that ever again.
Yeah.
Like he goes, he just said, understand, we can't have that ever again. He goes, we had a lot of rising stars. That was great. But we need guys on the park regularly. So Brad Scott cannot have two hands tied behind his back trying to develop a system. So he again said very strongly, Brad Scott is an exceptional coach that we as a club probably haven't helped him out on, which was an interesting comment about setting up the foundations and the club right for him to succeed, and that's got to stop. That's going to start now. So it was a really interesting conversation around. So
I wonder if that's like just emotionally or practically. For example, a director of coaching or a mentor there for Brad Scott, because I said earlier I feel like he needs a Gandalf wizard just sitting there, and a Hinkley type, just there to support him, because while he's in control and he's very strong and likes to portray that he's got his shit together, and I'm sure he does, we all need some support sometimes, and I think it could be really good for the group, for the coaching group as well.
Yeah,
that's something they're looking at? Do you think that could be something that this late in the game, well, it's not that late, but a lot of clubs seem to have their coaching structures locked into place by this time of the season, unless they're playing finals. Do you think it's too late now? Do you think it's still on the cards that the possibility of a director of coaching role could be filled?
I strongly believe we're talking to Hinkley. I know. He said Andrew Welsh gave him his number, but Andrew Welsh obviously just been made president today. But I strongly believe we've been talking to Hinkley now. Hurdy was the cheeky one who obviously talked about Essendon and him maybe coming over. He was playing the semi-recruitment role, I think. So he talked about, he kind of just said, what's more attractive to you? Brad Scott, Buckley with Tasmania.
I see.
And I forget who the third one was, but the third one was he actually counted it out. He said, no. It was a close friend of his and said, that's too awkward. We're too close. It's funny. He said, there's Bucks and Tassie. That's interesting. He goes, and he kind of said, and then there's Brad Scott, who I really like Brad Scott. He goes, I actually don't mind what Essendon's been doing. And I find what they're doing, actually, they're going about it the right way. And then of all the people, Eddie Maguire was really giving you should go to Essendon vibes to Hinkley.
What?
Eddie Maguire, that whole segment was all in on Essendon getting better, and it was very strange. But the body, tell me if I'm wrong, audience, but his body language at the end of that conversation was kind of saying, you should go to Essendon. It felt like by the end of the kind of the interview, you felt like, I actually feel like this is a bit of a chance, because he spoke about us the most in a interesting term about going young, developing. I mean, he loves, that would be something, I think, when you have that kind of role.
Yeah.
I think the high end roles are less appealing because they're so experienced, and so you go, what am I adding? So I think we had at least an interesting role of going, well, they drafted 7 18-year-olds last year. They're going to probably do another bunch of kids this year and the next year. So there's a platform to have a seniority second figure there and someone on the bench. And So I actually found it, like, the whole segment, quite intriguing. And I went, the fact that even, they discussed swapping numbers with the new president, I go, well, maybe there is something to this, that he may actually really consider it. So I think sometimes it's an appealing kind of thing to a coach when a club has gone through the ringer, to be part of that rebound, because it's the challenge. Yeah, like you said, the challenge. So it was interesting. It was a really interesting whole 20 minutes of TV as far as Essendon anyway. So Welshie was fantastic. He was really, really good. He made some really good messages. He was very strong, very fluent. No, there was no bumbles, no ums. His body language is upright. This is where we're going. This is where we're heading. So backing in AFLW program, backing the the AFL program, backing in both Natalie and Brad very strongly tonight. And so he wanted to make sure everyone knew that this is the change of me being president, and it kind of, now that's it. The change only means now, he kind of basically said the change is now only adding to the footy department, a new head of development, a new, just strengthening areas that he wants
pretty
to
much putting a full stop on any potential board spill. Is that?
That's how I read it on. Is like that his focus is only to add to the players' needs. He basically said, really, for me, it's footy. We need to get, everything has to be footy focused, and what do we need to give the players to succeed in the fastest possible time. The only interesting part is, which I'll get your take on this. So they obviously wanted to talk the word rebuild, but he didn't want a bar of it. And I still find that interesting from the club. I still find it like,
in what way did he not want a bar of it? Like,
well, the concept where you're going through a rebuild so I'm paraphrasing here, so sorry if I get the quote wrong. And he's basically saying, I don't really call it a rebuild. I think we can rebound quite fast. So I think there's enough. He's basically saying, if we get the right health, then we can coach well, we can get the systems in place, and I think we have talent that can propel us quite fast in the next couple of years. So he was more preaching, and maybe that's a little bit of a president saying, not buying into a 4 or 5 year message, and then, as it's something accepted in the club. Maybe that's him saying, I want urgency around the club. I only tried to read between the lines. What psychology you're preaching here? Are you preaching more just like, what are you trying to teach urgency for everyone to say, hey, we're not accepting anything. Who says we can't be Hawthorn in 2 years? Like, there's no limits. So I found it all interesting.
I will say that no one at the club has stated that we're in a rebuild to date. It's just Brad Scott has not used that word. Barham never used that word. It's actually not been said from anyone at the club. So that's not altogether surprising that Welsh is not peddling that line as well, I guess, if we're basing it on that. I think deep down they know where we're at in terms of the playing group as it is not good enough, and we're looking to bring in, turn over the list. We're in our upgrade era. So if there's a player who we can upgrade on the current list, I know there's only a few now left waiting for contracts. If we have a player who we can upgrade on them, then we will draft or trade them in. So, I don't think it's a denial thing. So I'm not particularly worried hearing that. I don't need him. I don't need him. Maybe some supporters, I don't know, chat, how do you feel? But maybe some supporters need to hear him say we're in a rebuild. I personally don't, because I think I don't need them to hear it. I think they know it. I think they definitively know that the list is not capable of playing finals, but we're working on that. I think they've got Matt Rosa in a great place. I think, again, strength and conditioning is well on its way. Development is the next chink in the chain for mine. So speaking of development, because this is a big one, and a lot of the consensus today was, because I tweeted about, can we just now give The president's gone. Welsh is in. Let him do his thing. Can we all just now give Rosa the clear air to do what he needs to do and nail this draft and trade period? And a few people commented saying that it's got nothing to do with the trade, who we draft and trade. Where we've fallen down time and time again is development. So who is currently in development? So let us give insight into the people. Who is currently in development and where can we potentially look to upskill?
Yeah, look, I think they need an extra person to have the development role. So obviously Travis Cloak and Hurley, and to a less extent Stanton, have that kind of role. And I think they just need an extra experienced development looking after them but also being on the field as well and developing. So I think
because right now there's no head of development. Is that correct?
There's just really a few lines.
Development coaches.
Cloak with a forward, stance mids, and Hurl's back kind of thing. So there's no. I reckon that needs to be a bit more of a tighter structure and a guy leading it, talking. I know they are, but having an experienced guy talking during the week to those coaches, what are you working on? So they're accountable to what they're working on. I look, I'm a little bit on the side of the development team's been in for 2 years, right? So the hardest part to develop is actually your ready-made players, your Langers and your. But I probably look at it's more to me, the Archie Roberts, the Kako, the Caddy, these guys. I mean, to a less extent, Durham and even Martin, who haven't been here that long. So Caldwell. But I felt like generally, I don't know about you, I felt like generally when most of the time when we had a debut this year, even if I thought they were well behind, like a Luau, say, coming in, I actually thought they were as good as prepared as they were, as we could get them at that stage. I thought Angus Clark comes in, kicks 3 goals, and I thought Kako had a really good year. I felt like most of them actually were quite ready to go.
You're right. In terms of development, they probably over exceeded my expectations, to be quite honest. They didn't look overawed by the occasions, by the debuts. I think a majority of them, in that wing and forward area kicked their first goals. So they didn't overly look overawed. Obviously, they ran out of steam, but in terms of the development, it probably was a bit of a tick. And the VFL probably gives a bit of a tick for the development and the structure of the VFL too.
Yeah. Hey, Pommy, are you dissing me? I'm reading this. No, I've got to work out if it's Brad Scott or it's me. He's just
no, he's dissing me here, not you. He's saying after 5 minutes with me, you look like you're on the Bomber Banter. You look like you're 5 beers down. That's because we get into the nitty gritty here, Pom. You know me. So it's dissing me, not you. You're a legend. He thinks you're a legend.
No, I'm just no. Well, yeah. So no, I forgot your question. Sorry.
I was just saying the development of the kids, that also probably gives a tick to the VFL program, given that the kids looked like they came in and were quite ready for the occasion.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. To me, it gave a tick to Andy McGrath as a future possible look inside a captain, because he's the main mentor of those kids. And he actually he's a developer in his own right, definitely. So with the amount of work he does, so I think I think there were some good signs. I saw enough of him. Got even Zach Johnson. So even when he played VFL, he's a great story, because I understood the no preseason and his first half of the year, you could see he didn't have a defensive bone in his body. I get that. But you could see they were actually really developing it. And then his last 4 games, he was doing some really impressive defensive stuff. So they're the things, to me, I noticed anyway, as the year goes on, how they're transitioning, to where I saw Luau at the start of the year, to where I saw Luau towards the end of the year. To I saw Angus Clark, last 4 games, he was getting you 20, 23 possessions, but he was calm with the footy. He was running through the lines. He was so. They're the things that I see. I thought Caco's last month was sensational. So they're the things that I saw as the year went on. I felt like they were understanding the game better. But as Brad Scott said, it is easier to teach. He's an 18-year-old than a 26-year-old who's been set in their ways. So that's the difficult part we've always had. Is unfortunately an older crew who are, I actually think some of them are very, very talented footballers, but how do we get that all into sync with the younger core? That's still a challenge for me, that the connecting of the two to have an in sync feel to our game plan.
Yeah, and so, well, in saying that, then, like, if we're basing it on, I don't think there would be many people who would disagree with the fact that the kids didn't look out of place and didn't look overawed. So based on that, the development was probably a tick for 2025. No, so
yeah, that's how I read it as. Yeah, I actually thought, for me, I judge, okay, what was Archie Roberts in your first year of that development team? What was he like in his second year of that development team? Well, he was twice as good. So that's, to me, they're the things I'm looking for. What was Caddy like in his first year? What was Caddy like in his second year? Well, he was much better. He was running to better spots. He wasn't running underneath the footy as much. So is he developing? Yeah, he is. So they're the things that I look for. What in first to second year. So they've only just started. 2 years is not long for a development team. So if they can build on that, add another person, have a lot more voices out there, a lot more, more access to players. They're going to have a really.
That could definitely be something they're looking to do before the end of the season. Yeah.
I think that's the idea. I mean, who was it? I forget who the player was, but there was someone mentioned that that they were going for that. They were going for that role, and they got turned out, and they went to another club. But it kind of showed you. It was.
I was trying. Yeah, my next question was going to be: do we know who candidates could possibly be for a head of development? Yeah,
I don't know. Nice weapon would be nice. But yeah, but I don't. Yeah, that part I honestly don't know. Yeah, thank you on the Rory Wright, Pommy. He's very correct.
Excuse me, Pommy. No, I thought you knew me better than this. It's absolutely a Whitney. It's absolutely anything Whitney Houston, and that's 4 a.m. for me.
And by the way, Pommy, I and for Essendon fans as well, I did have a mini chat to Sullivan Roby, who's the draft bolter, the other day. He's going to come. He's going to come on the podcast soon. Sorry, go for it.
That's exciting. I was just going to say, you're going to give us a few insights into what you're going to be chatting to him about.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to come on the pod soon. So we were kind of chatting about the timing around that. He's going to come after the combine. He wants to focus on the combine, which I kind of like and respect fully. But he's going to come on. But then Sullivan Roby just out of the blue said, "Oh, by the way, I'm a mad Bombers fan, and my dream is to play at the Essendon Football Club." So then, boy, did I come a Sullivan Roby.
He's just gone up the after the draft order, right? But
yeah, I think Cal had him around 6 or 7 now. Cal
to me.
Yeah, Cal had him at least in the top 8, but I'm sure he had him around 6 or 7. So
he's jumped. He was nowhere near the top 10 about a month ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, I looked at the last 4 games, and most of those were all finals. He averaged 26 disposals and 2 goals a game. So
and just tell people, for people who don't know, what position does he play?
So he's midfielder forward. So he mostly played forward this year for Roeville when he started. Kicked kind of averaged like 2 goals a game. Got elevated to Eastern Rangers about 8 or 9 weeks ago. Started forward mostly, kicked 2 goals a game. Very much the Perkins kind of, burst, powerful player. And then Eastern Rangers said, hey, we'll play you in the midfield. And then his very first game in the midfield, 40 possessions, 3 goals. And
Holy shit.
And so they went, all right, we'll play you midfield in the next final. And he had 27 possessions, 2 goals. So, and then he broke his collar. Then he cracked his collarbone. And he basically told the Eastern Rangers, I want to keep playing. I'm playing. I'll play through it.
To be young.
Yeah, I know. So the next game he got 25 and 2 goals, and then in the grand final he kicked 4 goals. So
question, would he be around our pick, or is there a potential of like Richmond or Richmond really, West Coast potentially taking him? Would we have to trade up?
Yeah, like I'm pretty confident West Coast won't take him. So it would be whether Richmond at that 2 picks before us, whether they're tempted or not. It is a risk for them because of when you have a draft bolter, you also don't have much data because you've come on late. And so as good as those 4 games has been, it's 4 games. So he's transitioned to the midfield. So I suspect Essendon will be right into him. And look, I know they've met. So Essendon's met with him.
And earlier in the year, not just recently. So he's just bolted about a month ago, but Essendon were onto him earlier than that. So that should give you confidence, chat.
Essendon were meeting him before he broke out.
Exactly. Pommy, I don't know if you're describing Roby here, that he's a prime Jake stringer that legally can do school pickup, but that's hilarious. Also, please reply to my text message just on that. So if for going by devil's advocate, well, not devil's advocate, the situation that Richmond do pick him up, that simply means that one of, say, Lindsay could probably drop to us because from what I've read, I've heard that they're probably in the box seat and really liked Lindsay. I don't know, my mail could be wrong, but if they were to go with Roby, that potentially means another young kid who we were looking at could drop.
Yeah.
We all know.
Yeah, Lindsay's obviously known as Mr. Skill. And it's always a common belief that Richmond believe they don't have much skill. They have some good young talent, but they still don't use the ball well. So a lot of people have linked Lindsay to Richmond just as a natural need. So I've always said that the biggest positive about Roby, is that either we get him or if Richmond do get him, that then moves the list that was a month ago, or it gives another player that we probably didn't think we were going to have access to. But I wouldn't surprise if Richmond have a look at Xavier Taylor as well. So I think Xavier Taylor is the player in this draft that I think every club will just be having a very strong look at. So you don't ignore BOGs in the grand final, and he's a very competitive boy. So that will go a long way. He's got the Archie Roberts gene.
Say no more. Sold. Matt Rosa, you know what to do. I honestly, this is how much I rate, and we're going to talk about. Don't you think I have not got off my high horse about Archie Roberts being snubbed? I think they forgot to include it. I think it was actually a typo from the Rising Star final leaderboard, because we're going to talk about that. But honestly, that's how much I love that guy. If you say he's got any of the DNA of an Archie Roberts, I'm sold. I really am. Like, he's just
I when I watched him live, it was a couple of weeks ago. I watched him live in the grand final, but I watched him a couple of weeks ago. But he was really up close. He's chatting to his opponent, and like if he loses a contest, he is so filthy. Like he had one contest even in the grand final. Like, he should have marked it. He went up, marked, and it went over the back. And he just was so angry. He sprinted so hard, and he just ran the guy down and just told him all about it. Like, that's the only one you're going to win on me.
So what you're telling me is he's half Archie Roberts and half Jai Caldwell. Done.
He's he is a centre half back, but he's a Redmond kind of centre half back. He's only like 191, 192. But he's very, very competitive. Now the only thing is the Ridley one for us makes it difficult because it's whether the club think Taylor's, can Taylor come in right now? Like you would have to maybe move Redmond to a wing or change things up to kind of align.
Is it safe to say that any of I would expect, maybe that's too high of an expectation, but I would expect that any kid we're drafting in the top 7, 8 is probably ready to play. Is that too much is that any unrealistic expectation with this draft?
Look, no, I think that's right. I'm going through all the names. No, that's pretty much all the NGAs I can see would be ready to play. Dersma's definitely ready to play.
Okay, that's someone, Dennis, also well done on your debut. Can you talk about Dersma? Do you feel like the club are going to do everything they can to get the number 1 pick or to get close there?
This is the tricky part. I'll give you so let's pretend the Draper conversation falls to our side, right? And we have on that night it'll be 5, 6, and 7. Say we have that because Alan Compo for West Coast will give them 1 and 2, right? So to me, if that happens, then I'm of the view that you go what you can do to get Dersma, because I think people get nervous because they hear the word unicorn because he can play every area of the ground, and
we also have a unicorn that we may have been blindsided by and we got excited about, and maybe is not a unicorn because there's a real unicorn at the Western Bulldogs who's very tall and is very unicorn-like, and we're all a bit burnt by the unicorn word.
Yeah, exactly. Look, the difference with Dersma to say a current player we have is that to me will end up being more Bont-like. So the thing I like about Dersma is he doesn't just go into the midfield because and try and do the role. Like, he actually is a very good midfielder. It just so happens that he can play centre half back and centre half forward. Okay. But him in the midfield, he played for Vic Country. He had a game where he played against Vic Metro, and he just destroyed everyone. And he played mostly midfield, and it was like he was just marking over everyone. He just destroyed everyone. And I generally think, just on what I've seen, that in 3 or 4 years' time, he has, as Jasper from ESPN said in the flight plan, he has the ability to be a top 10 player in the comp in 3 years. And he'll be worth, for me, 3 first-round picks in 3 years. So my logic says, why not use 2 to get him? And because I think the Eagles will at least entertain the idea, because I think they like Cooper Duff-Tyler. I think they really like Dyson Sharp. I think they do like Dersma, but it gives them a Dyson Sharp, Cooper Duff-Tyler, and maybe a Sam Cumming or a Xavier Taylor. They gives them 3 plays instead of 2, instead the opposite. Obviously, we go from 3 to 2, if that makes sense. So we give them 2 picks. We would have to trade 2, like say 5 and 6 to them, and for their 1. So,
and I know I've mentioned this to you before, Scooter, but they were also implored very strongly by, I think Jeremy McGovern came out and said at the time of drafting Harley Reid that he actually thought that they should split the picks and get multiple in the top 10, and they didn't. And of course, I wouldn't have either, because he's generational to me, and I still think he'll be a Brownlow medalist one day, hopefully for Essendon, but we'll see. University, if you're listening. But they were implored by many people to split the picks, and they didn't. So maybe this time round I feel a bit more motivated to go the split the picks route.
Yeah, look, it really, to me, depends on how much they says Dersma. if they think he's close to the others, like they don't think there's much of a gap, I think they'll be tempted. If they think there's a big gap, then they might say no. Like we know he's we know what we've got.
Well, and look, do you think there's a big gap?
I think there's a gap. I do think there's a gap. Whether it's a big gap, like I know a lot of people have him later down the draft, but I really rate Dyson Sharp. I think he's a very, very good player and be a 200-game player as soon as he joins any club. So I'm hoping a little bit that West Coast feel the same way, because then I think they'll be tempted, because Dyson Sharp won't go to Richmond. Like Richmond don't need that. They've just drafted a whole bunch of that kind, so they won't get. They'll look at the more the Taylors and the different kind of guys. So look, for me is I would go after him. One he told me himself he wants to come to the club.
He loves. He's safe to say, and I don't think this is going outside anybody's. It's not a secret. He's absolutely loved liaising with everybody at Essendon when he comes into the rooms regularly with Davia. He loves the younger players that he's got to connect with, Archie Roberts, Caddy in particular, and I'm sure Johnson and Clark as well. But he's loved his time in and amongst the Essendon family and the community through Xavier, and so he obviously has expressed that he'd love to come to Essendon. So I hope we really try our hardest, and maybe if Zach Merrett, I know everything is Welsh says is he's staying, but if Zach Merrett goes, that potentially gives us
that opens up the door for a whole range of things. They might even be tempted to draft into the future. Rosa may say, hey, let's trade into next year's draft and get 2 then. So with
the draft, I mean, before I let you go, are you able to summarize for the very, very dense, those of us who are dense in terms of understanding what the new rules are for next year for the bidding system for the father-sons and NGAs, are you able to summarize it in a simplistic way for us who don't internalize it so easily?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't. Hand on heart, I haven't read the exact details, but the sentiment was that it's really around especially with the father-son, that they will keep the father-son rule, but it's likely that what you have to give up will be quite considerable. So a club will really have to assess. Like, I know we just naturally think, we want Kobe Buick, but the reality is the club will have to assess. Say Kobe Buick got bid on at pick 3 scenario, we would have to have like pick 5 and pick 14 kind of thing to get him. So then you've got to work out the pros and cons. So they're basically saying you're going to have to.
As opposed to what would we have to give up usually, for example?
Well, so what they're trying to do is cut out all the back end. So what the Gold Coast and Brisbane used to do is they'll have like 6 round 3 picks, 42, 43, and all the points. So I think it's like a cutoff at a really low level, the points. So you can't stack anymore. You have to give up a proper good end pick to get these players and then add another one. So if you want the father-son, you got to cough up.
I still think it's unfair to do it so soon. I think clubs and list development teams need at least 3 years in advance to plan something like that, because that's insinuating that they've woken up and they haven't put plans into place for next year already. That's insinuating that list bosses don't have whiteboards dedicated to the 2026 draft already. Like that, it doesn't sit comfortably with me that Bulldogs and Collingwood got, your Dacoses and Darcys for next to nothing, and just next year with just an immediate rule change, it can be done. So I don't love that. I think in the long run, I think that's the fairest way. I do. I think we'll have to give up more for better players, and that's fair, but not in such a close proximity to the actual decision being made. You make a decision and then you say it comes in as of 2027 or 2028.
Yeah.
Anyway,
important to know, Joe. Sorry, I don't know your full name. Should be Joe. Makes a really good point that they are making it that the lower teams don't have to cop up as much. So if you're 16th and got a father son, you're gonna have a bit more easier access path.
Right.
If you've won the premiership, you're gonna have to really, really want that father son. So I think they're trying to equalize that about and not punish too much the line. So good point. So
that's something.
They'll go after Kobe Buick, but it just gives, like, say the Merrett thing says that trade happens. Don't be surprised out of the blue if Rosa actually thinks out of the blue you hear one part of the trade is a 2027 first round pick, because you can trade 2 years into the future. And that's what and if it does happen, it'll be front and center Kobe Buick. There's the second first round pick. So we'll give ourselves that assurance going into that draft that we're ready, that we're ready, and we know we can plan out that. We know we'll have the picks and get him. So it will be really interesting how they do everything. So who knows what happens with Merrett? I have no idea. So
I mean, now it's just thrown another spanner in the work, hasn't it? So, I will say this. Hopefully we don't hear anything else until trade period starts when it comes to Merrett. I'd be quite comfortable not hearing another freaking word on him. And everyone just goes into their little houses behind closed doors. I don't need to know that Welsh met with Merrett again. Just zip until negotiations start. Last question, and then I'm going to let Scott go. But Dennis, Scotty, who else gets delisted to free up the spots? We have 3 left: Lawal, Setterfield, and Hobbs, who are in limbo. Do you see any 3 of those being on the list next year?
Hobbs, unlikely. I sense. I believe Richmond had a chat to him, but I don't know how far that went. But I sense usually when I hear that, it means he's been told it's also good to check your options by the club. Setterfield, my gut feel says he may not go around. I think the thing with him is the consistency of injuries and availability. So it's hard to keep a depth player on if they're actually the depth player keeps getting injured, because you're meant to come in for the injury. But if you're getting injured in the VFL or whatever, so if you're regularly getting injured yourself, Lowell, it generally feels 50-50. I can't say. Like I'm okay with either way. I think, hand on heart, I think he's got a lot to work on. He played on a wing for 12 games. I think he averaged 9 disposals. That's going to have to change. No matter, you need a wingman who has to be running up and down. There's too many wingmen in the AFL that are carving up teams, and he'll need to have a way of finding the footy and being in the right spots better, and learning that part and stoppages and being able to run at the right times. His attitude is A1, like it's perfect. So I don't mind the idea if they want to develop more that side and work on him in the off season, because in fairness to him, he hadn't played much of that wing in the VFL. So it's not like he'd been strongly developed. He was playing half back and those kind of roles. And so I wouldn't mind if someone said we're going to develop him again and see how he goes. I think he showed. They probably could. I'm trying to think of how many spots are at the moment.
Yes, I didn't think of that. I just thought at worst. at worst, because I think if we can't upgrade on him, and I still love him in the forward line, and I love, I said it middle of the year, and then he made his way forward, obviously up on the wing, and he did so well. I know we've got some forwards in the NGA boys coming through, but yeah, I'm a bit like you. I'd be happy to keep him because I think just with some more education, I think he could be a great rotation or depth wing player.
Yeah.
But also if we can find an upgrade in a trade or draft who can come in and play, or potentially, if we get an injury, touch wood, it could come in straight away and play, I'd be happy as well. So we'll wait and see, Scott. It's going to be hopefully a little bit less vitriolic in the media from here on in, given that we've had some shaky waters, I think.
And there was no doubt a tone shift from Merrett last night. There was no doubt that whole situation had very much a different tone shift. So I'm hoping everyone's getting a little bit more adult, and just obviously we know Welsh met with him. I thought his tone last night was not too bad. So it felt like he obviously said, I'm talking with the club and we're going to have a chat the next couple of weeks. So for me, just can we have the player managers and everyone just butt out, just let them talk, let them be adults in a room. If he ends up wanting to go, then we talk about those options. We look at a third club, fine, but just do it. Just do it in house. There's no need to do all the shenanigans and
missiles you drop a rumor back and forth. This is not a classroom. Yeah, it's not a classroom. It doesn't help anybody's well-being. It doesn't help anybody's situation to get the best for them for their own, motives. So let's just hope. Yeah, I know, Moby. I know. I mean, I'm hoping that I'm manifesting through my words, like I preach about manifestation. I'm hoping.
I mean, you don't want to see Zach Merrett with puffy eyes and a face that looked absolutely exhausted. Like to me, when he had one of his interviews, he just had bags under his eyes, and I just went, "Man, you've gone through self ownership," but no one, it was just I just felt like anyone when I just saw him went, "Come on, like no one needs to go through this." Like, you've been with the club for a decade, like, and Welshie may be the kind of guy that breaks that cord and cuts out the emotion because he's a past player as well. That may be able to sort of get that conversations going as far as, let's just be real. Like, what do you want? And this is what we want. And just talk it through. But because at the moment it can't be just Hawthorn, because I don't think Hawthorn can do a deal that the club's going to agree on. So to me, Merrett's manager, part of you created that mess. You've got to, if you want your client to leave, you got to work out some other teams. So but it feels generally 50-50 whether he stays or goes. So
50-50 for you reckon? I reckon it's more like 80-20 for me, 70-30 at best.
Mine's the practical side though of just can he get a deal done? I think if a deal does that's really good, then obviously that changes the odds, right? But I just struggle to at the moment go how the Hawks going to do this, because their picks aren't going to do it.
No, they can't. As you said, they need other players, other teams.
Yeah, they need multiple teams in this,
they best not interest us in future. I don't want anything that they're selling for their future unless it's just to sweeten the deal, because they are on the up trajectory, and with Merrett, we'll be finishing 14th and we'll have pick 14 and up. So don't give us anything for the future unless it's a sweetener.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my selfish side is why do we want to give you a grand final?
100%. But if Merrett wants to get out and it's going to make our club better for the future, then we do that deal. But anyway, thank you so much, Scott. It's always an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for giving us your time as always.
My pleasure.
I guess we'll wait and see what else comes up, but let's hope for a nice quiet end to the week so we can all enjoy the grand final.
No emergency broadcasts. We need
exactly. That would be nice, but just this one week.
give me my phone battery back and give me my sleep back, please. So
yeah, sleep, productivity, just keep adding it to the list, honestly. Thank you so much, Scott. I'll talk to you during the week.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Good night. All right, Muzzy, I'm fading big time. I've been here 3 hours. You got 5 minutes, my friend. What do you got? How you feeling?
I'm tired. I can't lie. I've been at work, so yeah. I've just gotten on. Well, I got on about half
Well,
an hour
so have
ago.
I since 6 a.m., so you're young.
That's all right. Now, let's start off with Zach Merrett, because I know you don't want to talk about him for the rest of the week, so I'm going to get him done over with now before we go on 5 minutes and we talk about him for another 10 minutes. I heard what he said last night. After I heard it on my phone, I rewatched it because I was at work. I didn't actually watch anything. I've been at work the last 4 days. I haven't seen anything. But yeah, I've rewatched it. The way Zach Merrett sounded, he didn't intentionally mean to hurt anyone by what he did. I know as it came across hurtful to all of us, but I don't think he saw that as he was trying to be hurtful. As as Welsh said on the Footy Classified tonight, he goes, Merrett's a winner. He wants to win. He's not someone who wants to lose all the time. He wants to win, and he wants to go there with this club. He does. But what Merrett can't see is that he got promised 4 years ago when he signed this contract with us, say we'll get to finals. How many years in the last 4 years have we been to finals?
But the future's not promised to anybody. The future's not promised to anybody. Success is not promised to anybody.
But Zach got told that.
But he shouldn't have believed. Like,
that's
maybe the vision was sold to him. But
I'm the same with you. How do you know what the next chapter looks like? You don't know. Merrett got promised something that we couldn't control. He got told 4 years ago that we'll make finals, that we'll go towards striving to win finals. In the last 4 years, we've only made finals once. And we got eliminated the first time in the elimination final against the Bulldogs in 2021. By God, how many points that was. I am struggling to find out on where this club is going to tell players the right thing. And by the looks of today, we've actually started to clear out this club and get some fresh start in. We've got a new president in Welsh, which I've seen. Barham stepped down today. I read the letter too of that. I'm not going to go into detail with that. Welsh has come in. I think Welsh is a very strive person, and he likes to go what he wants. We've all seen that. He's a winner too. He's like Merrett. He wants to win, and I feel like this is a good thing. He's dead straight. He's honest. If you have a problem with it, let's fix it now. Let's get it done so we can move on. So we can get past these problems of we keep having the same issue every year. This club hasn't said we're in a rebuild. They keep saying, they avoid that word, as Scotty said, like we're avoiding that rebuild word. I don't think we're in a rebuild. I think we're just stuck in the one place. No one has made in the last 5 years has tried to make a change to this club. No one has. Worsfold didn't make it. Rutten didn't make it. Brad Scott hadn't made it for the first 2 years while he's been coach. Finally, someone's actually done something about this. We've got a new president in. We've got new high performance people in. We've seen that today because Ridley's happy. Ridley's now saying he wanted to go to Brisbane 2 weeks ago. He was off with Draper. He was going with Draper. He's going up to Queensland.
Reportedly, yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, after I heard that today, I was really happy. I was at work when I saw that. I'm like, oh my God, Ridley's staying. I was so relieved after I heard Ridley was staying. I'm like, finally, this club is doing something right.
With some good news.
It was just a brightening thing. And for whatever we get for Draper, which I'm praying to God we get something good, because knowing this football club, we'll probably get something shit.
Well, it's either pick 6 or pick 21.
Praying for pick 6. Because then we get what? I think it's 4, 5, and 6. Yep. So if we get pick 6, it'll be good. Because as Scotty said, the next 2-3 drafts, if we make a clear statement of what we want, what we're trying to get this year, next year, in 2027, we're on the right path. And if we follow this and we stick to it and what everyone is saying, I believe we can go to clear places in the future. And that's what Merrett wants to see.
Okay, that's fine, but I have problems with players feeling like they're owed something. So long as he can get that out of his system, more than happy for him to come back and be part of the rise and have a true legacy. But I'd need to feel some very strong emotional connection to him. If he was to stay, I would have to feel like I do think he genuinely is remorseful about the way he's gone about it, and then he'll regret it. But I need to feel like everything I know of him as a leader is going to be not fixed or changed, because you can't change who you are, but attitude-wise, yeah, I would have to feel a shift.
Welsh said on the thing, I listened to Footy Classified as you were talking to Scott. I listened to it, and he goes, football clubs are very forgivingness environment. Like, they forgive easily. Like, it's not a place where you hold a grudge against people. Like, no one's going to hold a grudge against you. You come out, you admit what you've done wrong, and you've told everyone the truth. Fine, we can forgive you for that. Football clubs, any type of club, is forgiveness place, and we can forgive and we can forget. But the thing is, in this circumstance, meeting up with Mitchell, meeting up with whoever, I reckon it's not Merrett himself, it's his manager too. We can't all be going around blaming Merrett for all this, because I don't reckon Merrett's had much of involvement as I think people have said he has. I understand he wants to go find success, and we've heard of not one, but not two, not three people in the AFL media. He goes to Hawthorn, he goes to a different club and gets success. He didn't earn that at all. He has not earned it. And Kane Corns said it about a week ago on a podcast. I don't remember where he said it. He said it on Sen or something stupid like that. He says if he goes, it's a cheap way out. Merrett made it very clear last night. He still loves this club. He wants to go with this club, but he was very uncertain of where this club was going.
But and that's the part I don't like and I don't subscribe to. You don't have to know where it's going. You just have to be part of the journey to where you want to get to. And that's the entitlement. That's the entitlement. I need to feel like that's dropped from his attitude and his belief and his way of being if he is to come back. That's all I'll say.
He's not going to be like that. He'll have that one focus of winning finals, and he'll have that one focus of the commitment with the club that he wants to win a final and he wants to go to that success. I know you don't want. I know you don't like.
Well, that's the right attitude at Essendon, though, but not because the game owes you, or it's because you want to be part of the journey there, not because you feel
wants
you're
to be a part of the journey.
You were made a promise. Well, we don't know. We'll wait and see, Muzz, where that
this
gets
whole
to you.
thing's going to be a complete reset. I feel like this season coming on, 2026 will be a new start, a new fresh chapter of the Essendon Football Club, and hopefully we can see some improvement, because if we have a repeat of this year, then God, I don't think that'll be good for anyone.
Yeah, it won't be good for my mental health. I mean, I'll still be
I've
here.
been on here since we played Brisbane, and I have not been a part of winning fan cams yet.
Oh my God, you! I know a few other
been a
people,
part of
regulars, haven't. Have you?
No, I haven't been a part of. I got
Are
here
you
when
sure?
we played Brisbane.
I think you might have.
I got here when we played Brisbane at the Gabba. Did we win a game after Brisbane?
No.
No, we did not.
Okay, all right, Muzz, that's bad, because I feel like you definitely were here for a win.
Go check everything. Okay. I promise you,
I believe you. Okay, well, we're gonna have to. We'll definitely remedy that next year. All right, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, Muzz. I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for joining. As always, a pleasure. I'll see you soon.
Pleasure. See you later, guys.
Bye. All right, everybody. I'm so sorry I haven't talked to you, chat, a lot tonight. I just wanted everybody who called on to be able to get their emotions and feelings and thoughts out. Thank you so much for being here, as always. I hope you're all well. Don't know when I'll see you next. just pop in just randomly, unless as Scott said, there's an emergency needed, required, but it'll probably be last minute again. Enjoy the rest of the week, the grand final, public holiday if you get it on Friday, and of course enjoy watching what's probably going to be a really great grand final. Cats for me, go Cats. I hope they do it again. Love the Cats. I'm going to bid you farewell so I can go and get some sleep. I'll see you all very soon.